How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to episode 68 of Lost Tapes. This is the interactive newsletter for the Moe Factz with Adam Curry podcast. And this is the episode Lizard Lounge. How's everybody doing tonight? Speak to some people in the live chat. I know some of y'all was in here very early today, and I appreciate it. Y'all let me know if my sound is right. Noel Nulliton was in here very early. Gravy Wagon, Justin Andrews, Wesley Mylar, DMV 247 TV. How you doing, brother? Fernando. Yeah, yeah, I'm doing work, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, kind of got off track with this one. I had some things come up. I had that definitely needed my attention on Wednesday, but we'll be back on track this Wednesday with the podcast, and then the following Wednesday with the Lost Tapes again. How you doing, Judy S? She said, "What is DWAC? What is?" Okay. Oh yeah, I think that's the Trump thing, right? The Trump stock or whatever it is. I'm following that closely. Fernando said Digital World Acquisition Corp. Yep. Fernando said the stock is skyrocketing. Oh, excuse me, let me put it over here. The stock is skyrocketing. Donald Trump is involved. He is going to acquire digital companies. All right. Sean M. How you doing? Sorry if I didn't show your other comments. Make sure I speak to everybody in the live chat tonight. I appreciate y'all being here with me on a Saturday night. Skip down on me. What's up, Chaz? How you doing? It says, let's see, get noticed with Nikki Life Changes. How you doing? What's good? John Photo. Shazier, always in the house. What's up, AKW Beats? Face to the Screen. AG, Charles McClain. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. And last but not least, Chris Abraham. Aloha. Okay. So you're out in Hawaii. So that's great. So 68, Lizard Lounge. I know that was a little bit of a twist. Everybody thought I was going to go full tinfoil hat. But of course I saved that for the Lost Tapes. We going there tonight, so get your extra heavy duty Reynolds wrap for your headpiece, and we're gonna go all the way there tonight. A few more people to speak. I appreciate that. Jesting Gesture, how you doing? Pretty, what's up? How you doing? Kit Kat, all the way from Australia. Y'all, I hope y'all good down there. Things sounding kind of crazy, but I hope they're getting better. Alejandro. Oh, I got Mexico in the house. I got Australia in the house. Hawaii. Man, this is crazy. Caribbeans. This is crazy, man. I appreciate all of y'all. I really do. D Digital, as well as my domestic family as well here in the States. I appreciate everybody. PJ, what's up? And Shift Makers Podcast. Yes. Yep. Oh, she down in Tamara down in Duval. I hear you. Got the FL family in there. Yep. Saturday tapes. So y'all ready to get into it? Let's speak for about another minute. I give about 5 minutes for everybody to file in. Y'all make sure y'all speak to each other too. I like that when the conversation is and the family is speaking to each other. Seal Yoda. I hope I pronounced that right. Mars Soul. Yep. So make sure y'all speak to the Factz family, speak to each other as well. What's up, JS in the morning? Because sometimes I notice y'all be having y'all own conversation going on in the live chat, and I think that's really cool. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. I think I spoke to just about everyone in the live chat. I see the other people filing, and I'll speak as time permits. But I got a full bag tonight, so I don't want to tarry too long. So, of course, the genesis or the reasoning behind 68 was the FBI labeling people that went to school board meetings as domestic terrorists or domestic terrorism, and there people are having issues with the COOF regulations and whatnot, and then also with the CRT or critical race theory, which hopefully I successfully laid out in the podcast with Adam, is a binary issue. I'm only meant to divide. It's not been defined. It's not been accurately discussed or identified, and I think that's on purpose. So in the in between time between last Wednesday and today, we've had even more information come out on this, and it says this is the newest from Washington Post, and it says White House aided school board groups domestic terrorism letter before Garland sick FBI on parents. So the White House did have a hand in this. And you're going to find out a little later why I am interested in this story and also why I'm invested in this story. But let me make sure. Janae, how you doing? I'm going to speak to a few more people. Anthony Roberts, of course, Deep Impression, always in here with the promo. I appreciate you, brother. That's true value. I really do. I appreciate everybody being here, but people contribute value in other ways other than just the monetary way. But if you do care to show your value back for the value that you get, the link is pinned to the top of the live chat, so you can show your appreciation and you return the value there. And all of it is much appreciated. I'll tell you that very much. Miss Ravioli, how you doing? Make sure I didn't miss anybody. If I miss anybody, y'all call me out. I think I got to everybody, but like I said, I got a full bag. And we're going to start. Well, I guess I got to show you this first. Hold on. Let me show you. Let me see if I can dig this up. I'm going to do this on the fly right quick. Do this on the fly right quick. Hope I don't jack nothing up. Y'all bear with me. But I have to address this. Because we're going to start with this clip with Miles China, but I have to show you one thing first before we do that. Let's see if I can find it. First of all, I think I should, because I retweeted. And while I'm finding this, did y'all let me know? Press 2 if you enjoyed the converse last night with the brother Donald Oliver Davis in his topic, Introduction to Worldview Warfare. If you missed that, please go back and check that out in the in-between time. Not right now. Staying alive right now, but in some downtime you may have, you may find that conversation very stimulating and interesting. I did. I really enjoyed it. And actually our conversation probably went another hour afterwards. So, I mean, that was, I really enjoyed chopping that up with that brother. But let me share this right quick. Let me see. I want to share this with y'all. I have to do this before I get into it. So I got an email, and it's like I said, it's not important about who it's from. They said they enjoyed the podcast, but my take, it says your take. I mean, we read it verbatim. Enjoy the podcast. It's not important who it's from. So, I mean, it's public knowledge, but it's not to call this person out. But the reason why I'm starting here, I want to explain that. It says, enjoy the podcast. Your take on China reeks of xenophobia, though. FYI, stop being concerned with Miles China that no longer exists and be concerned with McCarthy's America, which exists now, religious fascism, or a modern industrialized country. All right, so I'm just going to leave that there. I think I've always been fair. First of all, we're not criticizing the Chinese people, but more of the government of the country of China. And I only speak on that because it's how can I put this? It's a kind of a foreshadowing where we may be headed. And like I said, it's not about a hater, so I'm gonna stop sharing that first of all. I mean, but I just want to, before I play this clip, to, you know what I'm saying, just lay that out there. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into this first clip. And this was a clip from the actual show, but I want to put some visuals with it. And this is what was China's Cultural Revolution and why was it so violent? So let's go ahead and hop into that clip.
2016 marks 50 years since the start of China's Cultural Revolution. The decade-long shift resulted in an estimated 2 million deaths, alongside widespread abuse, displacement, public humiliation, and torture. At the time, little was understood about the causes and devastating outcomes of the revolution. However, newly released archives have shed light on this dark period of China's modern history. So now, half a century later, what do we know about China's...
Okay, now pay attention to what this gentleman is holding up here. This is Mao's Little Red Book, because this is going to be important down the line. Here shortly, but let's continue to listen to the clip.
Cultural Revolution.
Is the volume low? Y'all let me know if the volume is low. I can start it back. I think I'm completely maxed out on this end, but I want to make sure we get it right before we get too far into the show. I'm maxed out on my end. Is the volume low? Y'all let me know. It's yes, yes, yes. I think it might be this clip. Nothing I can do about that. Low. What can I do about that? I think it's just the clip, y'all. Because I'm maxed out over here on the volume. Yeah, I think it's the clip. Let's see here. Let's see if, let me know if the audio works, okay? I'm gonna try the audio. Okay, the clip's low. I'm sorry about that, but let's just work through it, and I'll highlight the points of what they're saying. Yeah, just try to bear with me.
While the revolution was predominantly Chairman Mao Zedong's attempt to establish himself as the leader of the communist world by ridding the country of capitalism and its long-standing traditions. After Mao's Communist Party took power in 1949, the Soviet Union's new leader, Nikita Khrushchev, denounced his predecessor Joseph Stalin and began to de-Stalinize the USSR. Seeing similarities between himself and Stalin, Mao began to fear a similar fate for himself. So in 1958, Mao launched a national campaign to boost China's economy called the Great Leap Forward, which radically redistributed...
Okay, so she brought up you said you can hear fine. Like I said, I apologize for the people that's low. Let's see, I don't have the closed caption on this. I saved the videos. So she brought up the Great Leap Forward, which reminds me of Build Back Better. But I just want to make that point there. And like I said, if it's insufferable, let me know and we can move forward with another clip. But it's a couple points I want to bring out.
Land among China's rural population and organized workers into communes. The Great Leap Forward failed miserably, decimating the economy and diminishing Mao's role within the ruling party. To regain control, Mao united with like-minded radicals, including his wife and defense minister Lin Biao, to launch the Cultural Revolution. At a conference in May of 1960.
Right, and it also the Great Reset, Great Leap Forward. Yeah, exactly. And this is how it destroyed the economy, and we see what's going on right now. I don't know if y'all had to put gas in y'all car lately, but or looking at the prices of food. Also, the thing called what's it called? Shrinkflation. If you notice now, and this is a good way to notice, take a product that used to be 1 ounce, you know, like a bag of chips or something like that, and you're starting to see, fractions on these packages, like 7/8 of an ounce, 5/6 of an ounce, but they're charging you the same price. So this is a way they can give you less product for the same amount of money. But just keep an eye on that. But we'll continue.
1966, Mao claimed that bourgeois ideas had crept into society and the government, and that these elements could only be removed through violent class struggle. In the months that followed, Mao shut down China's schools and mobilized students into paramilitary units called
Okay, let me let her finish.
Red Guards. The groups attacked and killed teachers, intellectuals, and eventually ordinary people they suspected of undermining the communist system. The movement infiltrated the military.
Okay, let's stop right there. So they took control of the schools. This is another thing that we need to pay attention to, because we're seeing now that some radical forces are trying to take control of the schools. And they're trying to silence parents. No matter what your grievance is, they're trying to silence parents that are trying to voice their opinion in this situation. So, and then we're also seeing some strange things going on with the military, with the whole coof and the Vaseline. They're pushing certain people out of the military as well. And if you saw, they did this strange appointment of this transgender woman or man. I don't know how that goes. If it's a man going to a woman, is that a transgender woman? Y'all correct me if I don't want to be disrespectful. But either way, that you saw this transgender person be elevated to this high admiral position in the government for some reason. It seems like it was only virtue signaling, but we continue on with the clip.
Workers and even the ruling party itself. By the late 1960s, tens of thousands had been forced out of cities in an effort to purify urban areas, and millions had
purify urban areas. So if you can't live in New York City now due to the COOF mandates, eventually you're going to be pushed out of the city. You see what I'm saying? Like pay attention to what's really going on.
Suffered rape, abuse, arbitrary imprisonment, or torture. Some of the most horrific violence occurred in rural villages in southern China, where revolutionaries were known to practice ritualistic cannibalism in the name of revolution. By the early 1970s, the revolution began to dissolve. Mao's chosen successor, Lin Biao, had recently taken power.
Okay, Lindsay 8 said a lot of people in that position have been made admiral. That's news to me. Appreciate you sharing that. But I would say this: it was symbolic. In my view, it was symbolic. But we'll continue on.
And was dealing with widespread opposition over his decision to put China under martial law. Mao launched a campaign to reduce Lin's power, effectively dividing the ruling party. After Lin died in a plane crash in 1971, members of his military command were purged and a new leader took power. Lin's death, alongside chaos and division within China's ruling party, left revolutionaries feeling slighted and disillusioned. The movement officially ended in 1976 when Mao died and his allies were purged from the ruling party. The Cultural Revolution was arguably the most horrific and violent period in the history of modern China. Today, the movement is often characterized by widespread devastation and death. But experts say its legacy is the uncertainty, fear, and lost sense of humanity it imposed on those who lived through it. And although China is still plagued with power struggles and human rights abuses, the scale and severity of these issues cannot be compared to those of the Cultural Revolution. Another watershed.
All right, so that's all I want to take away from that. The two main points: one, Mao's Little Red Book; two, as Word of the Day brought up, ritualistic cannibalism. That's crazy. But humans went there. That's what we had to realize, is that humans went there, and it's not a certain kind of human. It's not, because you have a certain phenotype, race, or ethnicity, or even nationality. When you make people binary against each other, as we're going to see later on this show, it can get to that point. So you had to, it's kind of brutal, but just hang around and we'll see that. But the point that I want to make up front is the Maoist, Marxism, communism, and how that is interweaved into CRT, or critical race theory. And it was always up front with the Black Lives Matter crew. They were never ashamed about saying that they were Marxists. But I have the clip because I wanted, this is another clip from the show. This is another clip from the show. And what I want to show is I wanted you to see her actual facial expressions while she's trying to talk down or maybe, you know, minimalize her actually saying that she was a Marxist. So this is Patrisse Cullors, and I'm going to let her speak in her own words.
Y'all asked, and I am ready to answer. Am I a Marxist? Let's get into it. Hey everybody, my name is Patrisse Cullors. I am the co-founder of Black Lives Matter. I'm also the executive director of the Black Lives Matter Global Network. And welcome to my YouTube channel. We're gonna talk about something that I have been accused of over the last several months.
She's been accused of. Notice how she said she's been accused of. She self-admittedly said this on multiple occasions. Yeah, and right, and her laugh. Correct. They do this, her, Kamala, a lot of them do this funny like laugh when they're put into a tough position. But let's let her continue.
It's been intense at times, it's been hilarious at times, but I feel like I need to set the record straight. Am I a Marxist? I've seen a lot of y'all's comments. In fact, I got them right here. Do not fall for their trick. They're pushing a communist agenda. Sorry.
How was that? Communist Marxism, they're all in the same family. So just pay attention to how she deflects from this. Right. And thank you. Perverted, at best. It's a cackle. That's correct. So just pay attention how she deflects and then how she answers the question eventually.
This is really funny. So
there go that cackle.
Despicable how Marxists have infiltrated the civil rights movement and turned it into a monster.
We've seen this before with what was the school out in Tennessee? I'm drawing a blank here that Rosa Parks and MLK were connected with. What was the name of that school? Somebody help me out in the live chat. It slips my mind that fast, but it'll come back around to me. But we know all the way going back to the 1930s and even before that, Russia had a directed effort to infiltrating quote unquote poor Americans down in the southern part of America because they saw them vulnerable. It wasn't Tuskegee. It was. See, now you're going to make me work. Hold on. Let me see right quick. Y'all bear with me. I'm going to check this on the fly. What is the name of that? Because the lady that was backing Rosa Parks was with it as well. Communist. Y'all making me work. School in Tennessee. Highlander Folk School. And that was a school where We Shall Overcome was written. You remember that was actually written and given out of that school. If you don't remember that, I'll cover that in one of my past episodes. I don't have the episode right offhand, but we've seen Marxism and communism. If you watch The Great Debaters, another movie that involved Oprah and Forrest Whitaker and who else? And Denzel Washington. That theme was covered in there with communism embedded and ingrained in the civil rights movement. So let's continue on.
She's trying to burn the whole system down. Admitted trained Marxists and Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors sends strongly worded letter to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, demanding they bow to their Black liberation domestic terror agenda. We warned you this was coming, and now it's here. Patrisse Cullors is a Marxist. All right.
How was any of that incorrect? How was that any of that incorrect? But let her, now she's going to get to, I wish I had my man Grunt. Shout out to young Grunt. He is the nonverbal cues resident expert here around the channel. So I wish he was here so he could do a breakdown on her. Maybe if y'all bug him enough, maybe he'll do one on this video. Who knows? But shout out to young Grunt. But let's get back to her and now her actually answering the question.
Hey, y'all. I mean, let's just talk about it. Am I a Marxist? I'm a lot of things. I
Answer the question.
do believe in Marxism. It's a philosophy that I learned really early on in my organizing career. We were taught to learn about the systems that were criticizing capitalism. We were taught to understand.
And that's the key right there, criticizing capitalism. And like I said, what we have now is not true capitalism. It's a form of corporatism or even oligarchy. But whenever you try to take people's property and make it everyone's property, that's a problem for me. I think you should be rewarded for the hard work you do, and people's hard work shouldn't have to be taken from them and given to other people. Now, with that said, I am a believer in a strong social safety net that will act as a how a safety net acts to bounce people back up into the working world and not act as a hammock just feeds people just enough where it sustains them and they linger there for years and years and even decades. So that's my viewpoint. It's a very nuanced viewpoint on economics from the Moe Factz business school, but that's just how I see it, right? I mean, I want to be rewarded for the work I do, and I don't think anybody should be entitled to more than me if I did the work, and that's just simplified. But let's let her continue.
And why there were philosophies that were criticizing capitalism. I'm working on making sure that people don't suffer. I'm working to make sure people don't go hungry.
Now, this is the woman that criticized capitalism, but capitalism afforded her to buy several $1 million pieces of property. So I'm done with that video. I just wanted to get her answer for that. You saw that she says she didn't come out and say, yes, I am a Marxist. She's like, yeah, Marxist is something I believe in. She tried to soften it. Well, of course, we always have receipts over here. So let's go ahead and remove that one out the way, and let's listen to an older video of her.
I was at the art publications table today, and I was speaking to this.
And Patrice been eating, literally. This is her younger.
A young person from Arizona who's trying to fight SB 1070. And he grabbed a book and he said, it's like Mao's Red Book. And I was like, man, that's what I was thinking. And it was just really cool to hear him make that connection.
Y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Now y'all see why I brought up the Mao's China's cultural revolution. She brought up Mao's Red Book. That was the Red Book that we saw that man holding out in his extended hand. And it also, a lot of the Black Panthers were known for carrying Mao's Red Book around as well. So I'm just saying we have to pay attention. I think if you're a Marxist, that's fine. If you're a socialist, that's fine. That's your choice. But I think you should communicate that to people, as they probably did. But all of a sudden, when they're called on it, they want to walk away from it and back it down. So let's listen to her again and what she says.
Solutions. I was at the art publications table today, and I was speaking to this young person from Arizona who's trying to fight SB 1070. And he grabbed a book and he said, it's like Mao's Red Book. And I was like, man, that's what I was thinking. And it was just really cool to hear him make that connection. I was like, how about you buy like 10 to 15 of these books and you all have like a youth organizing group where you talk about.
Look, she was about to say youth, and then she corrected herself. Y'all peep that? Let's listen to that again. Because that would have sounded too much like, what they were using in Mao's China. She corrected herself on the fly. Let's listen to that one more time.
Have like a youth organizing group.
So she tells them, why don't you buy 10 or 15 of these books and form some kind of group. Right, John. Also, see, all this is virtue signaling, the earrings and all of this stuff. You have to see, man, it's like they put this stuff on like a prop. Like a prop. I mean, everything to them is an act. So let's continue on. Yep, she was about to say it. Youth Socialist Committee. And she was, and she caught herself. The truth almost came out. Let's continue.
And I was like, how about you buy like 10 to 15 of these books and you all have like a youth organizing group where you talk about it and you really try to engage this And we can just we need to build off of this. And so that leads me to a point that I actually wanted to kind of focus on today, which is I think I have a really important role in speaking to youth. I have, maybe it's because I came in the movement at 17 and a half, so I have like just a knack for knowing how to organize young people into this organization and kind of teach them this politic, and then hear them now organize other people.
All right, so there's your answer on the Marxist, and that's why I brought in Mao's China. So hopefully people understand that it's not a reach on my part. You heard her say it for herself. So now we need to go look at some articles. Let's go over to some art. Y'all want to see some articles? Let's see here. Let's go here. Let's share that. Now, trained Marxist, is from Daily Wire. Trained Marxist BLM co-founder appointed as a Los Angeles County Commissioner. So she's moving on up in the world. And she says, I plan on advocating for the full support of Black creatives across my beautiful ass city. And she was appointed to this. Let's see who by who. I have her name here. Patrice Colors. And it's amazing how, you want to overturn the system, but you want to take part in the system. Right. Tom said it sounded like a pyramid scheme speech. Yeah. Get you take 5 of your friends, and then if they take 5 of their friends, and then they take 5 of their friends, we all can get rich. Exactly. What is the person's name here? Oh, here's the point I want to make here. The abolitionist update on art and activism. And we're going to get to the abolitionist teachers real shortly. But yeah, she was appointed county commissioner by this lady. And her name is Holly Mitchell. And she promised, and this is June 17th, 2020, Black Lives Matter movement would create change in the U.S. So this is who appointed her to that position. So you see that they're and I'm gonna use, for lack of a better word, they're infiltrating the government, and then they're using cronyism to appoint people that to positions of power. The very thing that they say they're against, I thought it would be based off of your hard work, who should get the position, not your connections. So that's what I want to say with that. Now we need to get back to the abolitionists. So this is Kevy. Y'all remember Kevy? Let me know if y'all remember Kevy from the somebody said zoom into neck. I can't zoom into neck. But yeah, so somebody do y'all remember Kevy from the show? Oh, y'all gotta see Kevy. And that's the abolitionist teacher. So let's go ahead and get into that. Here's Kevy.
All quotes and credit go to Dr. Bettina L. Love. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kevin Melrose. I'm a middle school social studies teacher with Indianapolis Public Schools, and I'm here to talk with you today about abolitionist teaching.
So this is Kevy. And look, and people like Patrice Colors and their ilk, they take people like Kevy and they indoctrinate him in their ideology, and they're the ones that push this narrative to the youth. Yeah, this is Kevy. This is dark. Zudekot comes through with the dark people. Don't get me started on the dark people. Not tonight. Not you too early. You too early. Yeah, this is Kevy. Hold on. Let's let Kevy speak.
Abolitionist teaching is an idea brought forward by Dr. Bettina L. Love, who is a professor at the University of Georgia and one of the co-founders of the Abolitionist Teaching Network. Now, what is abolitionist teaching? Abolitionist teaching is the practice of working in solidarity with communities of color while drawing on the imagination, creativity, refusal, remembering, visionary thinking, healing, rebellious spirit, boldness, determination, and subversiveness of abolitionists to eradicate injustice in and outside of schools. Abolitionist teaching works hand in hand with
He do, and why he just couldn't keep the end, Kevy? He got to be as non-threatening as possible. Like, let me drop this in so I can have a androgynous kind of sounding name, Kevy. That could be either, you know what I'm saying, either gender. But let's let Kevy continue and enlighten us on abolitionist teaching.
anti-racist teaching. Now, all of the ideas I'm discussing today, I've gathered from this book. It's absolutely incredible, and I highly encourage all of you to read it. Some ideas that I'm not going to be discussing in depth today are the theories around Black Joy, Home Place by Bell Hooks, as well as Giving Them Hell. What I will be discussing today is going to be focusing on what people that look like me with a similar status and privilege can do today to become abolitionists.
Thank you, perverted. This guy was chosen to deliver a message for a reason. Yes, this is their big game hunting. People like Patrice Cullors, if they can get somebody like Kevy, that's big game hunting for them. Because he can get into places and say, hey, look, they convinced me. They radicalized me, or they brainwashed me. So yeah, this is a big target for them.
Abolitionist teaching means putting something on the line in the name of justice. Wanting dark folks to thrive and giving up power and positions in order for dark folks to do so.
Oh, there you go. There you go with the dark folks.
The work of recognizing and checking white emotionality is done before you enter dark spaces. White folks have to get well on their own terms before they engage with abolitionist teaching. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Kevin.
All right, so somebody said they got to get the non-threatening white guy for the book sales. Kind of surprising they picked the guy with the beard. I guess it's the man bun for them. Yeah, the man bun probably cancels out the beard on the ally calculations. So let's continue. Let's let Kevy educate us.
I am an ally. I believe in social justice for everyone. While that is great, it's simply not enough today. We cannot just be allies.
You can't just be allies anymore. You got to step it up. Allies was so 2020. That was so 2017. I wouldn't say he hates himself, but he's so brainwashed, and I don't say that term lightly, that he wants to be as non-threatening as possible. Let's let Kevy continue with it. Ally. Remember, ally is not good enough. Ally, you no longer. If you're saying you're an ally, that's out the door. This is what you got to do now. Pay attention, non-dark folks.
We as white people must be co-conspirators. Justice in and outside of schools. Abolitionist teaching works hand in hand with anti-racist teaching. Now, all of the ideas I'm discussing today, I've gathered from this book. It's absolutely incredible, and I highly encourage all of you to read it. Some ideas that I'm not going to be discussing in depth today are the theories around Black Joy.
How we jump backwards. Sorry about that.
Have to get well on their own terms before they engage with abolitionist teaching. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Kevin, I am an ally. I believe in social justice for everyone. While that is great, it's simply not enough today. We cannot just be allies. We as white people must be co-conspirators. Allies do not put anything at stake.
You got to be a co-conspirator, folks. They said they're killing you with the deadly, with the Kevy name. Kevy. That mud chopped the end off, boy. I'm trying to tell you, he wants to be no problem for anyone. But let's let him continue. Hold on, let me see somebody said. Right, thank you, Judy S. This is one of them guys that would order that white guilt monthly kits that we talked about on a previous show. Yeah, like the, you know what I'm saying, the box of your allyship. But that's not enough. You got to be a co-conspirator. Let Kevy tell you.
And in today's day and age, that is simply not enough. Blackness is not a condition that needs saved. White people that are trying to go into the classroom to save black and brown children are totally misguided. and have no idea what these students actually need.
So even if you dare to try to save them, that's a no-go. It's not enough. You got to step it up.
The definition of a co-conspirator is to stand in solidarity and confront anti-blackness. A co-conspirator functions as a verb and not a noun. Co-conspirators can also be men who understand their privilege and work to challenge and undo the patriarchy. However, we cannot have these conversations about racism without talking about whiteness. The time-consuming and serious critique and reflection of one's socio-cultural heritage, which includes identities related to race, ethnicity, family structure, sexuality, class, abilities, and religion, taken side by side with a critical analysis of
Right, blah, blah, blah. But the whole point is here, this is what frustrates me about people like Kevy. They realize that they have privilege or perceived privilege, and then they want to say, well, it's my duty to do more. But it's like, hold on, you're speaking from a place of privilege, so you're embracing the privilege that you so-called claim to have or don't have. But at least y'all saw Kevy. I can't take any more Kevy. I can't take any more. But this is the guys, these are the type guys that are going to be teaching your kids. And see, people like Patrice Cullors and her ilk train him, and then he comes into the classroom and then he trains your kids. See how that works? So it's like, it's always, as somebody said, I think it was Tom, it was it's a pyramid scheme. And the real players are so far removed from the real issue that they could throw their hands up and like, you know, what do you mean? I'm not involved. I'm not involved in that. But let's get Kevy out of here. All right, so this is a comedy skit. Let me see where I got this from. This is a comedy skit called cartoonist actually. It's called Teaching Critical Race Theory to Kids. I thought this was pretty funny and interesting at the same time, so let's hop into this.
Critical race theory?
Oh, it's when you shut up because a person of color is speaking.
Hold up, my bad.
All right, kids, I'm here to teach you about critical race theory.
What's critical race theory?
Oh,
It sounds like Kamala with the freedom, don't it?
it's when you shut up because a person of color is speaking. He's 1/5 Cherokee. Professor, what is critical theory? Good question. White folks started slavery and they used it in their colonies. Some people want you to believe it was abolished in the 1860s. But really, it went underground with selective prosecution on bogus grounds. Blacks are locked up to this day disproportionately, and that's not okay. Run through your window!
What did he just say?
And I found it interesting they use a brown paper bag for the people that know the symbolism there with the brown paper bag. But let's continue on.
He said, white folks started slavery.
No, him. The angry one.
Who?
The other puppet who was saying violent things.
There was no puppet saying violent things.
Yes, there was no puppet saying violent things.
Idiot.
Okay.
I found this to be interesting because this is kind of how it plays out, right? They have the front people, and that's the three waves that we were talking about. That they engage like the third wave to be violent, and then they hide their hands behind their back. So I thought this was pretty symbolic of that process.
Anyway.
So we protest in the big city to show our solidarity with who set us free from the stages of slavery.
And have y'all noticed that it's beating up the dark person in the room? Like I said, I found this to be multi-layered, and it's comical in that way. That right, and it's gaslighting as well. But I found this to be comical in a way because the only person this kind of ideology affects is, or really has the most impact on, say not only affects, but has the most impact on is the black children, because it's taught them to do or to be victims. That's one of the issues I have with critical race theory. That it's like a teaching of it's a teaching of victimhood, of victimization, of victimhood. And right, it's the dark male and it's the male, while everybody else looks on. And here's Kevy, you know what I'm saying, giving it to the kid. Because I bet you if Kevy was told by a black child, well, I don't need you to feel sorry for me, he would try to convince him, no, you're a victim. You're a victim. And we're going to see why that's so problematic, especially to younger children. Right, Eric, we know. If people don't know, Freedom Tunes does lean right. But like I said, I found it just interesting, the layers and levels of this piece. But it's also quite representative as well.
Would you stop interrupting?
You're hitting me.
Am mostly not.
You were too.
What's wrong with you kids? My last class loved this show.
What preschool were they at?
Harvard.
All right, so that's that's the Freedom Tunes critical race theory. So let's remove that out of here. All right, so now we got to get into the youth mind, but let's see what the live chat is talking about. Let me see if I missed anything that I want to comment on. Right, Anthony? Yes, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, or it's the two-handed action. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into why they target the young mind. And this is, I think, from Discovery Channel, if I'm not mistaken. And this is why kids learn faster than adults.
Absorb languages like talkative sponges while I'm still struggling to nail down English. How do they do? Hey, you whippersnappers, Julian here for D-News. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Kids are dumb. Most of them don't know the first thing about quantum mechanics or brain surgery, but my goodness do they pick things up quick. What is their secret? Well, you may be tempted to think it's because their brains are growing. I mean, you look at a kid's head and there's just not a lot of brain you can fit in there, so maybe children are generating more brain cells until they become adults. While that might be a small part of it, you were already born with oodles of noodles, though, around 100 billion, about as many brain cells as you're going to have for your whole life. You will add more to your olfactory bulb, prefrontal cortex, cerebellum, and hippocampus. By age 2, though, you only keep making new neurons in your hippocampus, the part of your brain associated with memory and learning. It's possible this neurogenesis is partly responsible for why kids pick up new things so fast. Still, the most significant thing about a child's brain development isn't the number of neurons, it's their organization. A baby is born with very few synapses connecting neurons, but by age 2 or 3, they'll have more than twice as many than they will have as an adult. This period is called exuberant synaptogenesis. Your brain will actually prune back the number of connections because it just doesn't need so many once you're a functioning adult and set in your ways.
And this is why they want to target young children. While that thing is being shaped, while their perception of the world is being shaped, they need to get in as young as possible before those connections are made. And that's why they're even pushing it down to toddlers even and babies. You think I'm making this up? Y'all think I'm making this up, but y'all watch. Y'all watch. Yes, right, Lindsay H. Very malleable. They want malleable brains. And this is why they're coming at the kids, and the younger the better. But let's continue on the clip. Yeah, somebody said the shirt offends me.
Before that, though, your brain wires get more tangled up than headphones in your pocket. Your brain as an adult becomes more efficient, with different parts of the brain being connected a long way apart. Children, on the other hand, use neurons that are more clustered together. This is why children are so creative. Their brains are experimenting with different configurations before settling on a structure. So, during these early stages when their brain is so plastic, children absorb everything. Language is a notable example. When a baby hears speech, the neurons in relevant parts of its brain form more synapses.
Hello, you see that? That's why speech is so important. That's why they're changing speech. That's why they're constantly changing definitions of words. Because once us old folks, and that's relative to babies, once we die off, and the old meanings of words die off, when you go back and read history, it could be interpreted in total different ways. And we're seeing every day words are being changed every day in the dictionary. And I wish somebody would keep track of that, how many words are changed every day, because I know it has to be on an upward trend. Right. And it's Shift Maker says the children shape our futures too, also can be used to cause household divide. Right. And we've seen this every time technology comes in, major technology, when the radio came in, pre-radio people and post-radio people, it was a huge divide there because of the way the information came in. And then the same thing with television, pre-television people, the parents, and then the post-television people, the kids. It was a major divide there. And now we have what? Social media and the smartphone. Pre-smartphone people, pre-smartphone social media people, and smartphone people versus the post smartphone people. It's a divide there. And we have, like I said, we have that every time a major node of information comes into the culture, to the shared culture or the shared world. Let's continue on with the clip.
The more they hear speech, the stronger those connections become. It's why their vocabulary quadruples in size between the ages of 1 and 2. I think it's also why they pick up foul language
Quadruples in size between 1 and 2.
So well, too. You ever swear around a toddler and it's the only word they'll say for the rest of the day? But don't pardon their French, because at early ages, kids pick up new languages accent-free. There are multiple neural pathways, so their brains don't get locked into one pronunciation pattern. After their first year, though, babies lose the ability to distinguish the sounds of foreign languages. Don't get disheartened if you're an adult trying to learn a new language, though. You're still perfectly capable of doing it with time and effort. You're just going to have to accept that you're probably going to have an accent. Speaking multiple languages will help you communicate.
That would be a cool name, Matthew. That would be a cool name. Let me back that up a little bit. I don't know.
Communicate with much bigger audiences, but you still need to reach them somehow, like, say, through the internet. No domain extension will help you tell your story.
All right, so we're not gonna let them do an ad because we don't do ads. What we do is value for value over here, and like if you would like to show value, the link's at the top of the page. So they want to come at the kids early, and this is why. That's why that's their number one target. So with that said, it's even with Me Too. So we have Tawana Burke here, and she's going to talk about coming for the kids and teaching them Me Too as early as possible.
Tawana Burke, I just wanted to start this interview by saying thank you for the decades of work that you've done helping women and children who've been victims of sexual assault, because people who do that work really cannot be thanked enough for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
More than 11 years before Me Too became globally famous, you were using that phrase in your work. What were the origins of it?
I was living and working in the South in America, and I was running a youth program for Black and brown girls. And I was really trying to fill a void that was in my community. I had so many young girls who had been subjected to sexual violence and had no outlets, had no resources. And I had that experience as a child with no outlet and no resources. And I really wanted to fill that gap and fill that void. And so that work became the way that I did that.
When did you realise how pervasive sexual assault and abuse were, that it wasn't just a matter of isolated cases?
I remember being in a classroom, and when we had first started using the term Me Too, and we gave each of the girls, we had done a workshop, we gave each of the girls in the classroom of about 60 girls maybe, a piece of sticky note and said, tell us 3 things you learned in the class. And if you have survived sexual violence, write Me Too. If you want to, if you feel compelled to. And we did that so that, nobody was singled out to give a sheet of paper. And when we went back to our hotel room and went through the notes, more than half of them said Me Too. And I thought, we are onto something.
Y'all be nice in the live chat. Y'all some savages, man. Y'all be nice.
It is so major and so needed bigger than I ever imagined.
When you started using Me Too back in 2006, you were
So I want to stop it right there. Y'all threw me off track for a minute, but having children write something on a notepad, did you report this to their parents? How did that work? I mean, do you just let that stand? I'm confusion. So, yeah. So, I mean, I just find that interesting. Like, yeah, write this down, but what did you do with the information? And then those terms, sexual violence, that sounds one way, but then how they divide it, I mean, how they define it could be something very, like they were trying to say catcalling with sexual violence. So, like I said, I'm not poo-pooing anybody's victim's experience, but when you conflate catcalling with actual hardcore SVU type activities, not to be confused where I got my law degree from, we have a real problem, because now it's a you know, I want to be part of the group, so I'll write that down too. So we're gonna see part of that. We're gonna see that actual later, but let's let her continue.
Very clear in your writing and your work at the time, and indeed ever since, that it's one thing to share a story of abuse, but that it's critically important that once a person's done that they are helped to process that and come to terms with it. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Absolutely. What I think happens a lot of times is that we urge survivors to share their story. And so you are re-traumatizing not only the person, but the people who are hearing it. There's not a tremendous amount of value in hearing the trauma that happened. There's so much value in understanding what happened post-trauma, because surviving sexual violence isn't just about the point of trauma and violence. It's about all of the trauma that you hold in the days after it, right? And becomes salacious to a certain point when we just want to hear.
That's Dick Wolf School of Law, SVU, Dick Wolf School of Law. Got my JD in Law and Order.
About the gory details about what happened to people. That is, I mean, that's the biggest part of the story, but it's not the only part. And to some degree, it's not the most important part.
What do you think is the best way to educate children about protecting themselves?
I think we have to start really early with young people about respect and boundaries, right?
Got to start really early. And I agree that we need to start really early about teaching people about their boundaries, keeping your hands to yourself. You tell your kids if anybody says anything out of the way towards you or rude to you, or I mean, not rude, but out of your way, like, you know what I'm saying, or sexually, or you feel awkward, they should come tell you immediately. So I agree with her that you should tell them, teach kids that as soon as possible. But that, I don't think that's what she means. So let's find out.
I think we make it into something that is sinister and bad, and because sexual violence isn't about sex, then talking to children about protecting themselves isn't sexual. It's about respect. It's about boundaries.
Y'all watch this sleight of hand that she's about to pull right quick.
About saying, if you can teach children to say please and thank you and not to run with scissors, then you can teach them about healthy boundaries, about not touching people without consent.
And the other thing that you write about is that it's also an issue about...
Don't we teach our kids not to touch people without consent? Has something changed? Right. And the other thing, sexual violence is not about sex. They throw these words, somebody said earlier, they throw these word salads out here. And it's like a circular argument. Sexual violence isn't about sex. I don't understand that. But don't we teach our kids, keep your hands to yourselves, be respectful of other people? But at the same time, we also have to teach them, well, I was taught, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me. As I was told, people can say whatever they want to you, but as long as they don't put your hands on you. If they put your hands on you, then you got to handle your business. And I'll be down at the school, you know what I'm saying, to have your back ASAP.
About children believing that they are worthy of being allowed to have boundaries and that they're worthy of being treated well and saying, no, I don't accept this for myself.
We raise our children to think that all adults around them have authority and that adults' knowledge is absolute, right?
No, I don't raise my kids that all adults have authority. I raise my kids that adults in certain positions have authority, such as teachers, principals, things of that nature. But like I said, it's a lot of conflation going on here. But let's let her continue.
And so the children believe that, when, for instance, when we go over for holidays, we go visit other people and we say, go hug your aunt or go hug your uncle or even, a friend of the family. We don't give children the option for how they use their body or how they express themselves. And they are little human.
How people use their body? Let me back that up a little bit. These folks are weird. I'm gonna just tell you, weird. They are weirdos. Allegedly. I assume. I think. How do you conflate going to hug your uncle and your aunt with what kids do with their body? I mean, who sits around and thinks about this stuff? Right? You got to be joking. And no. It flabbergasts me. Now, if you got that strange uncle, they be like, hey, don't, Uncle Junior, you know what I'm saying? Let him stay back there in the room and watch TV. You know what I'm saying? He's staying at your grandma's house because he really ain't got nowhere to go, or your auntie house. But you know what I'm saying? You don't bother him. Everybody know about that uncle. It was one in Soul Food. You remember the dude that had the TV full of money? We all know about that uncle. You stay away from him. Or he's ran out of the family. Don't play with me, Uncle Chester. I'm going to leave it at that. He's ran off from the family. But to try to conflate going to hug your uncle and your aunt, that's weird. But I'm gonna let y'all hear that one more time.
Right about is that it's also an issue about children believing that they are worthy of being allowed to have boundaries and that they're worthy of being treated well and saying, no, I don't accept this for myself.
We raise our children to think that all adults around them.
All. The strange man in the van has authority over his kids. That strange dude, that strange woman, because we ain't gonna play that game either. Like, young boys are not abused. I'm gonna use the word abused by women. We see it all the time, but we think, that's the other thing. I'm gonna just go on a tangent here. We always think it goes one way, male on young female, but we often see older female on female, older woman on young boys. It's almost a joke now when we see this with the teacher sleeping with the 13, 14-year-old boy. Oh, that's a joke. Oh, well, he's lucky kid. He's so lucky. I wish I would. No, that's abuse. That warps that kid. I think it was a movie called Antoine Fisher. That movie was excellent in covering that topic of how young boys can be warped and abused and no longer innocent when they're abused by women. So if we're going to have this conversation, let it go both ways. But you notice we don't ever talk to young boys about that. And I'm going to keep it all the way 100. Young black boys are the most targeted by men and women. Let's just keep it 100. But I digress. Let's let her continue.
Have authority and that adults' knowledge is absolute, right? And so the children believe that, when, for instance, when we go over for holidays, we go visit other people and we say, go hug your aunt or go hug your uncle or even, a friend of the family. We don't give children the option for how they use their body or how they express themselves. And
no, and you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. If my kid, I'll be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? This is my friend, you know what I'm saying? Speak or whatever. And my kid or whatever, not even a friend, let's just say acquaintance or whatever. Kids know better than adults. If your kid feel a creep vibe, they're gonna run to you. They're gonna hold you by the leg, be like, no, daddy, no. No, you know what I'm saying? No. So we got to listen to our kids. We got to pay attention to our kids. We got to watch their movements. We got to watch if they're changing when they go certain places. So, I mean, that's the parent's job to be watchful over your flock. To say, yeah, they don't want to go there. They don't want to go to church practice. They used to love to go to practice. They don't want to go to practice anymore. They don't want to do this anymore all of a sudden. And you intervene. But I mean, that's enough with her. But I just want to show you that they want to push their agenda. That one, that speaking of that, was the Me Too, but they want to push their agenda very early, very early. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, David. Yeah, yes. Know your kids. Be a family unit. Yeah, be watchful over your kids. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But yeah, let's get her out of here. And this is another clip from the show, and this is Melissa Harris Perry, and she's speaking on your kids don't belong to you, and this is really what they feel. But let's get back. Let's go to the live chat. We're doing good on time. I want to make sure I don't keep y'all here too long tonight, and I got a full bag, so I'm trying to keep the show moving forward, but I want to make sure I also stay engaged with the live chat as well. Yeah, digressing is good, Mo. We need you to continue this platform, stay solid. I mean, I'm always going to attempt to stay solid. Nobody's perfect. But what I am going to do is be protective over those that can't protect themselves. Starting with my own. It said, Andy said, if an adult wants to hang around children, red flag. Yes. Yes, we saw that with Sandusky. We saw that people that always want to be with children, especially alone. Like I said, we have people that love kids. I mean, we don't want to go too far and be binary, but at the same time, it's like, if a person always wants to be alone with your kids, red flag, complete red flag. And exactly, Ned, we got to teach our kids words and to pray as well. Yeah, we had to teach them words and ask them what's wrong. Never just accept silence or nothing's wrong or that kind of stuff. Right, and we got to protect these babies, and that's what this is all about. We really had to protect these babies because they're coming for them. We're old, as they said in that video. Our brains are shaped, our brains are formed. You might get people move 1 degree left or right. But you know what I'm saying? You're not going to make major changes on the most part. Some people make miraculous changes later in life, but they want those young, fresh baby brains. And yes, that is a double entendre. You want that adrenochrome. Sick people. I'm glad I'm glad I could come here and have an audience that's smart enough, and I don't mean that just smart enough to understand nuance, to understand not to be binary, to be respectful of each other in the live chat. I really appreciate that. And look, I'm happy with the size of the channel is now, because if it brings chaos with large numbers, I'm cool with where we at right now, because I appreciate each and every one of y'all. As usual, deep impressions, hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Also, please, after the video, please leave a comment. That also helps, because be active in the live chat is great, but also if you leave a comment afterwards, that helps with the algorithms as well. And we do want more people to come over here, but we want quality people. So, we won't stand for people coming here bringing chaos and nonsense to our little peaceful corner of YouTube. All right, Miss Ravioli said, actually, this lady is correct. One of the 3 things for which I advocate is victims of child sexual abuse. Many adults do not want to learn the true signs of CSA. Child abusers or con artists. Yes, I agree, Miss Ravioli. I agree that we need to watch for the signs, but to conflate children's bodies and how they interact with family members, I think she's being loose with the facts. I'll just say that. But yeah, I agree with you. That's one of the things I detest the most. Man, y'all are dropping mad comments. Let me see if I can catch up here. Okay, so where are we at? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Judy S. I appreciate that. So what we want to do is now, Oh, okay, Melissa Harris Perry. Now this was back, I think, in 2014, 12, somewhere in there around that area. And this is Your Kids Don't Belong to You.
Invested as much in public education as we should have, because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the households, then we start making better investments.
And this was an ad for MSNBC. Hence the lean forward. We have to break through that kids don't belong to the parents. I'm gonna let you say that again. Oh, hold on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let her say it again. It's a short clip. We can listen to it one more time. Just listen to what she's saying. And now juxtapose that to what Tawana Burke was saying, that kids' bodies and whatever else, but then the kids' bodies belong to the state or the collective. And this is why I push back. Lindsay H., you're way ahead of me. You're way ahead of me. I can tell you got one of the smartest audience, if not the smartest audience on YouTube. But yeah, and like, right, DMV, everybody's respectful. That's why I don't have wrenches, and I'll never have wrenches, because look, we all can be respectful of each other. And I keep a watchful eye if something's going left. I'll give people a warning. And if you want to be extremist and not practice nuance, maybe it's not the channel for you. But let's listen to that one more time.
We have never invested as much in public education as we should have, because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the households, then we start making better investments.
And that could go one or two ways. Now, we could say it takes a village. We heard the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. But at the same time, the parent has the final say-so over that well-being of the child, not the community. See how that works? But then we got to get into, too, do your kids really belong to you? Because when you sign that birth certificate, really, you make them wards of the state, and you're only really giving custody of your children. That could easily be taken away from you if the state sees so fit. So it's a very slippery slope what we're doing here. I'm going to say that one more time. It takes a village to raise a child, but the parent has the final say-so, not the community. But we have to look at the fact when you sign that birth certificate, you're really signing over the rights of your child to the state, and then they grant you custody, which can be taken back at any time. So we got to be careful when people start talking like she's talking of your kids don't really belong to you. So if you don't teach them what we feel that you need to teach them, then we could really step in, especially with the coof and what's about to really come down with the Vaseline. Well, you don't want your kids to have the Vaseline. Well, the community feels that it's best for them, and you're not being supportive of what the community wants. So let us take that custody away from you because you're being irresponsible with the custody that we grant to you. You see how slippery a slope that is? And then, thank you, AG. You alley, and I'm ooping on home. Goes back to labeling parents as terrorists during school board hearings. Loud and Counting being a major target, which is right in my backyard. So now you see how all this goes together? The community, quote unquote community, sees best that your children are taught this or that. And your child needs this Vaseline. And if you don't see fit, then here we come. You feel what I'm saying? Somebody shows up at your door. That's why we got to be very careful about what's going on. It's very right. It's a very scary world for parents. And let's get back to Miss Ravioli's statement. It's because she seems to be somewhat of a source of reliable knowledge on this subject. She says the children bodies do belong to the state. I witnessed this so much. Yep. The surprise is in a parent's eyes when their children are taken by the state is priceless, hurtful, and gut-wrenching. And the reason why I know this, because Moe Factz was a social worker. See, a lot of this stuff I speak on, I've seen firsthand as a young child on into adulthood. So, I mean, I speak from a place of somewhat knowing. I don't know every aspect of it because I've never been a social worker, but third hand, I've seen how this stuff plays out. And it's part of the reason why Moe Factz got out of it, because she was seeing a lot of things she didn't agree with, calls for the state or the community trumping the rights of the parents. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I want to lay out to you. Now, as I think it was Lindsay H did a little foreshadowing with the Terry McCullough comment. Here we go.
Glenn Youngkin's taking my words out of context.
Let me back this up, and just for complete transparency, this is a political ad by Terry McCullough's what's the word I'm looking for? Competition. So I just want to give that disclaimer, but it's a very effective ad, and let's watch it.
Glenn Youngkin's taking my words out of context.
Something you mentioned in Tuesday's debate is you said you don't believe parents should be telling schools what to teach. What did you mean by that?
Well, first of all, parents should be telling schools that they want their teachers to be vaccinated.
Do you think parents should have a say in the curriculum?
You don't want parents coming in every different school jurisdiction.
You alluded to parents staying out of this. We just want to make sure that we're...
And he just kept stepping in it. And yes, JDSD, they are putting laws on the books. The Vaseline in schools, no parental consent. Yeah. I think DC had a case of that. And this was early on. Right, and right perverted at best. And black families, family court was never for black families, but as I showed in other shows, parents, white parents are now feeling the effects of, not I'm gonna say now, but they're more, what's the word I'm gonna look? They're feeling the effects more. Like I always say, it starts with us. We're the beta test before they roll these things out to the masses. We saw people not being a condition of their probation. We saw parents lose their custody because they didn't have the Vaseline, or now it's going to be your kids. But let's back up this political ad one more time. He's going to step in it 7 times. 7 times. That means that he's not changing his mind.
Glenn Youngkin's taking my words out of context.
Something you mentioned in Tuesday's debate is you said you don't believe parents should be telling schools what to teach. What did you mean by that?
Well, first of all, parents should be telling schools that they want their teachers to be vaccinated.
Do you think parents should have a say in the curriculum?
You don't want parents coming in every different school jurisdiction.
You alluded to parents staying out of this. We just want to make sure that we're understanding you correctly. What is your stance on that as far as what school agendas have to say for the kids?
First of all, this is determined by the State Board of Education and local school boards. And that's where it should be.
Do you still stand by your position that parents should not tell the schools what they should teach?
You do not want 25 parents picking books.
You don't want 25 parents picking books. That's a strange statement. Who picks them then? I thought PTA stood for Parent Teacher Association. It was a coalition between the parents and teachers. Now it's just teachers and the powerful, the powerful and teachers association. They done totally ruined out the parents. And no, this is not a parody. This is not a parody. This is going on right where I live. So much to the point that, like I said, I had to resort to homeschooling I know that's not something that everybody can do, but like I said, I think there's a solution that can be had. Me and Adam had this conversation, and I think there's some kind of hybrid situation of schools, public schools and homeschooling. I always think there's a win-win with any situation, but let's let him continue.
Reply.
We have a board of ed and we have local school boards who make the decisions about teaching.
I'm not going to let parents come into schools. I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
I don't think parents should tell their schools what they, let me hear how you said it again. I don't think parents should tell the schools what they need to teach. Wow.
Schools. I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
Your kids are not yours, is what he's saying. Your kids belong to us. And all you're seeing is the veil being lifted. Nothing's really changing. They're just stepping into the power that you relinquished. And that's me included. Like I said, when you sign that birth certificate, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do in a sense? Like I said, I'm not getting to that argument of sovereign citizen and those kind of things. That's something you should always know your rights. But even then, they're really pushing their powers. Oh, we got Big Elvis, the chef Rosenberg in the house. He says, my wife and I are dealing with the issue when it comes to the math textbooks. We want them to change it. Are we gonna homeschool? Right. And that's the thing. Like for me, and just like as another quick aside, I'm teaching my kids math, science, and just in the sciences, what can be proven. Instead of history, we're doing law, family law cases. Of course, that takes you back into history when you look at cases like Brown versus Board of Education, things of that nature. You get some historical context, but it's more in what are your rights, civics, political science, those things. Now, it's like I said, it's not going into like actual law, but it's like, here's the cases. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And just seeing where their brain is at so they can kind of start to formulate their own opinion about things instead of being in a narrative-driven history, because nobody is ever going to agree on that. And I think that's a real problem. But where do we stop at? Okay, yeah. So this is parents debate whether they should have say-so on what kids are taught, and this is CNN. From back on October to 12th. And this is Azara Nomani. Let's get into this clip right quick.
I'm not going to let parents come into schools and actually take books out and make their own decisions. I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
Virginia's Democratic gubernatorial candidate Terry McAuliffe criticized over his comments about what should be taught in schools and saying that parents should stay out of it. This comes as heated debates continue at local school board meetings across the country about whether public schools should teach critical race theory, which is a legal theory that recognizes that systemic racism is part of American society and challenges the beliefs that allow it to flourish.
Okay, I want to stop right there. There's a couple things I want to get to. Let's see. Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's what we're not trying to get to. Once you unleash the mama and papa bears, and the way that works is Papa Bear is just sitting back and waiting for the signal from Mama Bear. See, right now you're seeing Mama Bears show up to these school board meetings and voice their opinion, and it's like, well, this is the last option before we had to take it somewhere else. And like I said, Papa Bears are just standing on the sideline like, Mama, what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? How you want, which way you want to take this? But I want to make this clear. I believe critical race theory, and it's something that we couldn't really get into on the show just for sake of time and in discussion. But I think critical race theory is the precursor once again, this is an example of us holding the door. They're using the race conversation to bring up the to justify what they're doing with the FBI. So when they bring in the medical aspect of it, the groundwork would already be laid. So I guess a couple things I want to get to, because I think it's some good advice for everybody. Santiago said, Moe Factz, I am thinking of doing the same with my kids. How do you make this kind of schooling count? As in, how do you get certified? I think that, like I said, it's state by state. In the state I'm in, that's Virginia. You know, I had to fill out, I think, like one piece of paper and then show them my degree, which I didn't even understand why I had to show them my degree. Are we saying that you have a certain level of education to teach your kids? That's kind of weird. What is that level? So I would say checking your state and see what the appropriate paperwork. And what really gave me the courage, let me just be honest, what really gave me the courage to even attempt homeschooling is seeing the level of education they got last year with the remote schooling. And I was like, I can do better than that. We can do better than that. So, I mean, that's just where I was at with it. And like I said, it's an adventure, and you're not going to get it perfect. But at least you know they're not going to be indoctrinated with some other stuff that you don't want to have. I'd rather teach my kids and they lack in certain areas than have them go to school and they're given everything they need, but also given additional things that may harm them later down the line, like victimization and other things that's being taught and packaged in with critical race theory, which we're going to get to later. Zudika says, yes, we're doing the same. We both teach in the school system on and off and would never put our kids in it. That's kind of like I remember once I started working at certain restaurants, I stopped eating the food. So I know exactly what you're saying there. Let's see here. Yeah, and like I said, it's in the comment. This is where the comments are very helpful. If you have any suggestions for people on the topics, provide them there. I mean, I don't hold them to be valid or whatever, but it's a suggestion. This would be a great way, for us to share information. Khan Academy is a great tool, and it's free. It's one of those free options. I mean, that goes all the way up to college level courses. But yeah, so let's get back into this conversation they're having on CNN.
Talk about this with people who are affected by this discussion. A Virginia mom against critical race theory teaching in school, Asra Nomani. And also with us is a Texas parent in favor of critical race theory being taught in schools, Kazike Prince. I want to thank both of you for coming on, for this is such an important discussion that we're having. And look, I know that you both agree that parents should have a say, right? That they should have a say in what their kids are being taught. You differ on what schools should teach. So Asra, to you first, what do you think schools should not be teaching?
So schools should absolutely be teaching reading, writing, arithmetic. They should not be radicalizing our kids. And unfortunately, schools are now radicalizing our kids. I mean, this is the volume of the book from critical race theory that, as people say, teach in law schools. But unfortunately, it is now trickling down into little books for children like Woke Baby, Gender Queer, which is the book that actually inspired this mom to speak in the school board meeting in Fairfax County, to which Terry McAuliffe responded. In it, there is unfortunately very graphic symbol of pedophilia and
Are we back? Are we back? Press 1 if we're back. Press 1 if we're back. Okay. But they are not going to stop us. I'm trying to tell you. And y'all notice. See? Y'all notice when we breach certain topics, if we up here and talk about foolishness, no problem. Y'all see how this works? No problem. But once we start talking about certain subjects, oh, it's a problem all of a sudden. They really about to be mad. They are really about to be mad when we really go through all of this. Hold on. Let me load up the cannon. Hold on. Shouts out to the hater. Let me really load up the cannon on them. Hold on. Y'all bear with me 1 second. Like I said, I'll take that as a badge of honor when they do little bootleg stuff like that, because I know I'm over what they say. When you start catching flack, you know what I'm saying? When you start catching flack, you over the enemy's target. Yes, sir. We gon', oh yeah. Hold on. Wait a minute. We about to load up the whole cannon on them. Wait a minute. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Look, I got patience. I got time. I got nothing but time. We can do this all night. I'm not worried at all. But let's do this. Let me finish loading up this cannon right quick, cause we coming all the way for him tonight. Yep.
One query.
Hold on. Let me just go ahead and finish loading up the cannon just in case we run into some more problems. I'm loading them up. Clip after clip after clip. Y'all bear with me. See, they don't know. They don't know. They do not know. Hold on. I gotta finish. And see, this is why it's so important what we're trying to do here. Look, they tried to give me the cancel cannon, but look, we coming right for them. See, I got the video that she was referring to in that town hall meeting. Y'all want to hear it? Here it go.
This is my son, Cameron. He attends Leander High School, and I'm going to explain to you the book that he received. But Mr. McKay, I pray you're a man of your word.
This is the book that she was referring to that she held up. That obviously, when she held it up and mentioned the name of it, that got me booted out. But let's let this mother. This is the mother that she was referring to that Terry McCullough was responding to.
Last week, I asked my children if I could check the books that they've picked up from the school. My son picked up this brand new book from the shelves in class, Lawn Boy. He was under the impression it was about a kid that ends up with a gig mowing the grass at Disneyland. I'd like to share a few quotes with you.
Disneyland, pay attention. I told you it's that mouse. I told you that's that mouse. Yeah. Oh yeah, we going all the way. Look, we gonna party tonight because it might be the last party. But let's go.
This first one, just turn it around. On page 19, not that it really matters in 4th grade, at a church youth group meeting out in the bushes, I touched Doug Goebel's dick and he touched mine.
This is what they pushing with critical race theory. Pay attention. Pay attention. This is what they teaching with critical. I'm gonna back it up a little bit so you can hear what she just said. I'm gonna say. Let me do this first of all. People, if your kids is in earshot, you might want to do something with them, because this is not gonna be PG or G-rated.
Up with a gig mowing the grass at Disneyland. I'd like to share a few quotes with you. This first one, just turn it around. On page 19, not that it really matters in 4th grade, at a church youth group meeting out in the bushes, I touched Doug Goebel's dick and he touched mine. In fact, there was even some mouths involved.
Even some mouths involved at a church meeting. Notice how they put the book, the event happens at church. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I blow y'all out? Y'all eardrums out? Look, y'all, man, y'all be killing me with the volume. Let's see. Let me see if I'm gonna crank it down a little bit. The mic is a little hot.
Next one, page 91. What if I told you I touched another guy's dick? What if I told you I sucked it? I was 10 years old, but it's true. I put Doug Goebel's dick in my mouth. I was in 4th grade. It was no big deal. He sucked mine too. And you know what? It wasn't terrible.
Excuse me, this is not the one from Loudoun County. No, this is the one from Austin, Texas, but it covered the same book. I'm sorry about that. I want to make sure I'm 100% accurate. I apologize for that.
Page 174. I don't know if I made a sign for this one. Yeah, I did. He talked about old times at the church, but never mentioned our penises or the fact that he never said 10 words to me after our little foray in the bushes. Not a single reference to holding or tugging or sucking dicks. All I could think about while he was chatting me up was his little salamander between my 4th grade fingers, rapidly engorging with blood.
Lizard people. Lizard people. Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is. This is what, and like I said, this is what they're rolling into critical race theory. They're rolling it right on in, and see, they'll have black parents out there fighting, oh, I want my kids to get critical race theory, or you know what I'm saying, or allies or co-conspirators, whatever else you want to call them. They'll have, oh, we need to give the kids critical race theory. And this is what they're rolling right up on in it. Let's continue.
Page 230, I didn't make a sign for this. Why won't you admit we sucked each other's dicks? We shared a Hershey's bar, then you showed me your dick. The next thing I know, it's in my mouth. We sucked each other's dicks, and you're pretending it didn't happen. What sort of diversity are you intending to teach my child with material like this? In addition, I'll share with you the exceptional quality of vocabulary. I stopped counting on page 66 after 44 fucks and 41 shits. The depravity of the content on the shelves in our schools cannot be mitigated with policy EF. At this point, I need you to know that according to policy FFH, hold this one please, local sexual harassment is defined as unwanted sexual advances, sexually motivated verbal, nonverbal conduct, or other conduct or communication of a sexual nature when the conduct is so severe, persistent, or pervasive that it affects a student's ability to participate in or benefit from an educational program or activity, or otherwise adversely affects a student's educational opportunities or creates an intimidating, hostile educational environment. What sort of educational environment do you think the plethora of sexually graphic books selections create for my children, or for any child for that matter? I won't go into my 4th grade daughter, but we don't, this is not a thing for 4th graders. Who normalizes sex acts between 4th graders? I'll tell you who. Pedophiles. So it's fortuitous that you invited the Leander Police Department to visit.
She got the bell. She got the bell. This is who they want to call terrorists. And see, now you see why. Look, I could stand on the sideline, but like, well, you know what? Critical race theory, it really doesn't impact me, blah, 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 blah. But as soon as I want to go down there and protest something like this, oh, you had to. Or the Boulay phone ringing. And what, thank you, CW. In what world is To Kill a Mockingbird a problem, but they introduce books like this? Please make it make sense. Yes, Judy, in an upside down world is where this makes sense. Oh, but I ain't done. I told y'all I'm loaded up the clip. Next, and you wonder what kind of parent would read that to their kids? The same kind of parent that would read this book to their toddler. Pay attention.
I lie. E is for bye. C is for coming out. D is for drag. E is for equality. E and what was the name of this book? The ABCs. You like this book?
The gay BCs. Pay attention. And like I said, this is not to anything to any people or adults that had choose to live their life in a certain way. Live on. My problem is when you start introducing this kind of stuff to children. Children. The gay BCs. Let's let the parent continue.
Yes. Are you a woke toddler? Yes. Can you say, I'm woke? I'm woke.
Are you a woke toddler? Yeah. Just let that marinate for a minute. Just let that marinate for a minute. Are you a woke toddler? Toddler. Oh, but that ain't enough. That ain't enough. Hold on. Let me get this up out of here. Y'all think I'm playing? I told y'all I loaded up the clip. So now we have, this is the reading of the book by two librarians. Hold on, wait a minute. And this is on YouTube. I pulled this next video from YouTube, and it's marked for children. It's marked for children. Watch.
Well, hi. I'm Pam. And I'm Demi. And we're two librarians.
Two librarians. Let's back that up for a minute. I know y'all still in shock over the woke toddler and the gay BCs. Here we go. One more time. And this is marked for children. You just gotta let it breathe for a minute. Two grown men in wigs. And like I said, I don't know if this is satire or what, but this shouldn't be on YouTube marked for kids, even if it's satire. I couldn't prove or disprove this is satire, but I think they are very serious. Two grown men with lipstick and wigs on reading this kind of stuff to children, targeted towards children. Let's go. I tell you, I got the clip all the way loaded. Let's go.
Well, hi. I'm Pam. And I'm Demi. And we're two librarians. The library is open. We have a special book called The Gay BCs, and it's words and pictures by M.L. Webb. Yes, and we would like to say it's published by Quirk Books. That's right. And dedicate this book to a young viewer out there named Cooper and his mama Ashley for introducing us to this book. That's right. This is for y'all. Yes. And everyone else. That's right.
And y'all thought Kevy was bad. I hope these two are not actually librarians, but I fear they are. Let's go.
It's a very good educational book.
That's right. All right. A is for ally, a friend who is there to stand up for you with strength, love, and care.
These are babies in this book. Look at this. These are babies. Now, last time I checked, sexual orientation was just that, your preference for sex, which has no place for children. But I'm gonna let these two continue on. Y'all let me know if y'all stomachs get too turned, and I'll keep moving on. Let's see what Perverted at best said. We're gonna have to move Moe and his fam to underground, but I ain't moving nowhere. I don't have the spirit of fear. See, that's what they don't understand about me. I don't have the spirit of fear. Nowhere about me. Let's go.
B is for bye. You can shout it out loud. I like boys and girls.
and that makes me proud.
I like boys and girls, and that make me proud. And we got children on these pages. How is this sold in bookstores?
C is for coming out. You're ready to share what you feel deep inside. It's okay to be scared.
D is for drag. You can strut and dance in clothes that you love. Dresses, heels, or pants.
That sounds like fun.
It does.
E is for equality. We're on the same team. We all have the right to love, hope, and dream.
F is for family, related or found. They'll stick by your...
And remember I told y'all about that found family? That's where that Friendsgiving and stuff comes from. See, they want to have these groups that kind of find wayward children that's, you know what I'm saying, that's been run out of their houses because, you know what I'm saying, of who they are, and then they bring them in. Booker said, run the whole clip. All right, Book, we're going to run the whole clip. We're going to run the whole clip. I want y'all to see how serious it is out here.
Side through your ups and your downs.
G is for gay. It's a word that implies you're a girl who likes girls or a guy who likes guys.
H is for hope. Dream up a life you'll love. The sky is the limit. Shoot for the stars above.
And ain't that funny? That's the same thing, that big hope sign that was assigned to Barack Obama, our first gay president, according to, I think it was Newsweek. I think it was Newsweek that put that on the cover, and how they lit up the White House with the rainbow flag. And like I said, I'm not this. If you're an adult and you choose to live this way, I have no. That's you. I choose to live my life my way. You're an adult. You choose to live your life your way. My problem is that this is targeted towards children, and this is where I have an issue at. Hold on, y'all got time? I want to show y'all something. Where we at? We got time. Hold on. I want to pull up something right quick to show y'all something. Hold on. 1 second. Because I brought up Obama, and I know people probably running out like he always talking about Obama. Wait 1 second. Y'all ready for this? Hold on. We gonna come back to this. Hold on. We gonna come back to the video. I just gotta let y'all get your lunch back down for a minute. But hold on. I want to show y'all this. And they put this stuff right out in front of us. Look at this. Y'all remember this little boy right here? Y'all remember the Obama kid? Y'all remember press one if y'all remember the Obama care kid. Remember the little pudgy black boy? You know what I'm saying? Remind me of myself a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Got the little fro when I was a little kid. Y'all remember him? Press one. Let's see if y'all remember the Obamacare kid. And while y'all doing that, let me go ahead and... Yeah, y'all remember him? Look at this. I'm not the Obamacare kid anymore. Transgender. Now, how is it? How is it the one kid that they pick as the Obamacare kid ends up being a transgender kid? See, y'all think I'll be making this up? Y'all, what's the likelihood of that? Hold on, I ain't done yet. Hold on. What was that? Newsweek? Hold on, we going all the way in tonight. Hold on 1 second. Newsweek, first gay president. Wow. Newsweek. Thank you, TD, and shout out to TD. Y'all go follow TD. Brother always dropping the political news that we need to hear that we don't. And he, like he said, none at all. It's all planned. The first gay president, when he signs in Obamacare, ends up being a trans little boy. Y'all make it make sense. Let's go ahead and remove that off the screen, and let's get back to the reading librarians. I know y'all had to get your lunch down right quick.
I is for intersex. Some are born with the parts of both a boy and a girl. Bodies are works of art.
J is for joy. You can sing, dance, and play. Find moments of sunshine in each and every day.
K is for Kiki. When friends come together to catch up on news, gossip, and weather. I love having a Kiki.
I know. Lock the doors.
Lock the doors. I love having a Kiki. Lock the doors. Lock the doors. Lock the door. We're talking about children here. Children. This is a child's book. I can't do no more. K is for Kiki. L is for leaving. Cause I'm leaving this video. I can't do it no more. I cannot do it no more. Where we at now? Can't do it. Sorry, y'all. Don't y'all get me started on Big Mike. Oh, Big Mish. Y'all not taking me there tonight. Y'all not taking me to Big Mish. I'm not going there. No. I can't. Even to the point, and this is how trivial it's getting. They target this kind of stuff to say even animals are gay.
One queer animal you might be surprised by are ostriches. These devil birds have been known to engage in homosexual sex every now and then, and while they might be terrifying and unnecessarily huge, you can't deny that they'd look awesome doing drag and some fake lashes and a beautiful red wig. Plus, they've totally got the legs for it. Next, we have bearded dragons. Don't let their rough exterior fool you. These reptiles are gay softies on the inside. It's even been hypothesized that some male bearded dragons develop with a female brain. So you know what that means? Trans dragons. Just when you thought lizards couldn't get any cooler, they do.
Trans dragons. Lizard people. Lizard people. Well, it just so happens I found some bearded dragons in their natural habitat. Y'all want to see it? Here it go.
But guess what? Now there's some fierce fathers out there joining forces to make sure their LGBTQ children are protected at all costs. We're going to introduce you now to the Dragon Dads.
My son just says that I'm gayer than he is.
6 years ago, Jake Abhau's life took an unexpected turn when his teenage son revealed that he was gay.
One of the very first things he said, he was like, hey, I'm gay, I'm cool with it. You know, I know God loves me, I'm down with it. He's saying all these really profound things, and I remember just sitting there thinking, oh my God, my kid's gay. Like, what do I do?
Dads are supposed to know what to do. Dads are supposed to fix everything.
David Jensen is the proud father of 2 gay children.
Hold on, y'all pay attention. Y'all pay attention right quick. And like I said, I don't really like to talk about kids, but they put their kids on the national news. Look, hold on, one more time.
They're supposed to fix everything.
David,
look at how young those boys are. Once again, look at how young those boys are. Happy Faster. It's a reason it's 2 for 2. And I'm gonna get to it in a minute. Y'all watch. I'm like I said. Right. What profound thing? What are you saying, TD? I don't know. But like I said, I want y'all to pay attention. Let's let them continue.
Jensen is the proud father of 2 gay children.
I was absolutely
bearded dragons.
Petrified.
Dragon Dads was born out of that fear, especially for these 2 dads who come from conservative religious backgrounds.
When we initially started it, I don't really think we knew what we were doing. We just were looking for a place to have dads that had kids that fell under the LGBT spectrum as just a place to come together and kind of talk.
The group offers guidance on how dads can support their LGBTQ children.
This seems to be one of those things that dads take a step back and say, hey, I don't know how to fix this. The answer is because nothing needs to be fixed.
The private Facebook community is a safe space for fathers to share their stories and to encourage one another while processing their new reality.
There's a lot of deep programming that has to be done. I had to completely readjust my expectations for the
Deprogramming, his words, not mine. Deprogramming. And like I said, if your kids are adults and they choose to do what they want to do, it's their right. You know, hey, it is what it is. My problem is that they're targeting children. They are targeting children. Sexuality should have nothing to do with children. A child should be innocent as long as possible. That's my standpoint on it. Like I said, if you, however you choose to live your life as an adult, knock yourself out.
future for my kids. I was thinking, well, now, okay, he can't be a Boy Scout anymore. He can't do this. He's not going to get married. I'm never going to be a grandfather.
Dragon Dad's education.
And that's the real issue right there. I'm going to rewind that back one more time. Because this is the real issue, I think, with a lot of dads, and specifically their sons, is your offspring. Every parent, or most, I'm not going to say every, because not everything. Most parents long for the day where they can see grandkids. And I think this is the real issue. And I want to play that clip back, that little piece of clip back one more time to address what he just said.
Readjust my expectations for the future for my kids. I was thinking, well, now, okay, he can't be a Boy Scout anymore. He can't do this. He's
he can be a Boy Scout. So that's been proven.
not going to get married. I'm never going to be a grandfather.
Dragon Dad.
See, that's the key right there for a lot of people. And Sean M., you right on board. Why is everything always boiled back down to less people in the world? The more and more you look into conspiracies, quote unquote conspiracies, they all lead back to less people in the world. Lizard people. Y'all think I'm making this up? Okay, that's enough. We're going to get back to the Dragon Dads in a minute. Let's go and take them out of here. And just let's have a little comedy relief in this serious topic. Because, you know, we don't want to have doomers and gloomers and fry people out, right? But I remember this skit a long time ago. And the reason why I found this skit, it was so hard to find, but also why it's important, is because there was a time where you could have jokes. We live in a time now, we see what's going on with David Chappelle, where people can't even make jokes about certain people. And when you can't joke about certain people, that lets you know the powers that be are backing them in a certain way. The reason why I say that, Emmanuel, if I was listening to myself, I would think I was making it up. How weird it is. Somebody said something I wanted to address. Where was that at? It was something else. We got past me. All right, so this is a clip from Saturday Night Live. And this is about parents and how they would deal with their child coming out. And it was a funny skit called Homicide. And it's funny how far we are from being able to just making comedy about very deep subjects. Yeah, it's funny, but it wasn't funny. But at the same time, that shows you how, I only add that clip to show you how far we are from a time where you used to joke about certain things to now we're in a totalitarian state where if you make a joke about somebody, they want to cancel you 100%. And that's a very short period of time. I'm just showing, I put that in there to show you how fast things move in society. Now, we got to get back to where were we at? Okay, now we got to get back to the Dragon Dads. Because there's something very telling I saw with them. Where we at? Okay. Here we go. And I think this is on Good Morning America or one of those morning shows.
Welcome back. This morning, we're going to meet a group of dads who are speaking out loud for their kids.
They're offering support and showing their love in a very public way.
They call themselves the Dragon Dads. For my digital series, Dad's Got This, I got the chance to learn a little bit more about these parents with pride. 50 years after those riots right across the street at the historic Stonewall Inn, undeniably, a lot of progress has been made. Well, now, a group of dads, religious dads in fact, creating a community so their kids are loved and accepted.
My name is Jake.
And y'all notice it's the religious thing. It was the religious thing with the book she was reading from. It happened at church. Now they're highlighting these people, these men, because of their Mormons. And they're like, okay, the way that I think the capital they, see things is that if we can get victories in strongholds like the Mormon church, it's a win. It's big. Like I said, it's big game. It's a big trophy. So I just want to point that out as well.
Abhal, my son is John, and I was part of a group of fathers that started Dragon Dad 6 years ago.
I'm Dave Jensen. I'm the father of Natalie Jensen and Cooper Jensen, and I've been in Dragon Dads for 3.5 years. So I was raised in a...
I want y'all to pay attention because y'all brought up the guy having two, right? Two kids that, you know what I'm saying, came out. I want y'all to see why I think this could happen, or a possibility of how this could happen, where you could have two come out in one family.
Christian church, and I was taught that being gay wasn't God's way. I feel blessed a few months before Natalie came out to us that my wife and I had a change of heart. We were able, to the best of our ability, be as level-headed and loving as possible. We were very upfront saying,
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I love you. I love you a whole lot. And he always made that really, really clear that he still loved me.
So we spent a lot of time.
This is a different dad, and both his kids are gay. Just to point out, or came out. Pay attention.
With Natalie, asking questions. And in fact, we have a swing in the front of our house, which later by my son has started being referred to as the gay swing. Because every time we're on the swing, sitting with Natalie, we are talking about LGBTQ issues. Over time, he started to realize things within himself.
But it really means something to me because he's just... I just love him a lot.
As you support your LGBTQ kids, I found a lot.
Y'all just see how that happened
in my community.
Y'all just see how that happened. Hold on, let me stop it right there. We're gonna go back, and I'm gonna give you an analysis of what I see happening here. They're out on the gay swing. The daughter's getting all of the attention. So the little boy says, I want some of that attention too. And the reason why I know this, look, it happens all the times in kids with sports. One brother plays a sport, he's good at it. The little brother's like, big bro get all the attention from the dad or whoever, from the parents, for them playing that sport. Let me pick up that sport so I can get some of that attention. You see how that works? And I think that's how you get two in one family, or multiples in one family. Because when one child is showered with all the attention, children, look, I'm a father of 4 children. If one child's getting attention, the other ones are going to want to have attention too. To say, look at me, dad. See me, dad. I want you to see me, dad. This is how, you're saying, this is just a natural occurrence just with children. I mean, with anybody. I mean, if one person's getting attention, of course, everybody wants to get attention. Humans love attention. So it's nothing naturally wrong with loving attention and wanting attention. But when you get attention for certain behaviors, the other children are going to fall right in line. So with that said, let's listen to this exchange one more time in that context.
I love you a whole lot. And he always made that really, really clear that he still loved me.
So we spent a lot of time with Natalie asking questions. And in fact, we have a swing in the front of our house, which later by my son has started being referred to as the gay swing. Because
the son called it the gay swing. Let's let them continue.
The time we were on the swing, sitting with Natalie, we were talking about LGBTQ issues. Over time, he started to realize things within himself.
But it really means something to me because I just love him a lot.
As you support your LGBTQ kids, I found a loss in my community, my friends. It was a struggle.
In 2000.
Let me stop right there. So one more thing I want to ask, one more question. Now, if his son happened to be straight, would he have a straight hat on? Would he wear a straight hat? It's preferential treatment. Kids always want to be seen. That's a real problem. That's a real problem to me. It is. And second of all, for you to bring your kids on national television to push an agenda, which a lot of these parents, the same thing with the woke toddler mom, she was recording that for her social media. This is, hey, I got a cool kid. Hey, I got a woke baby. I got a woke toddler. Look at me. I'm doing such a great job. They become just accessories. These children become accessories for the parents, or a way they could sometimes even live vicariously through their children, or their kids give them a new leash on life by making them feel important. But that's enough of the dragon dads. I'm gonna get them out of here. But this is what's going on in the world. Luckily, YouTube ain't mess with me anymore. But it's always important to show value for value because, look, we know our days are numbered over here. But while we're over here, we're going to try to get as many people in here. And my man TD say, and I always butcher it, but basically the point of it is, and if he's still in the live chat, you can put it verbatim, but basically we want to grow big on YouTube so we can move off of YouTube. And I know he says a little different, but that's the whole point. With that said, okay, let's get into Obama and him talking about the reptilian brain. And this kind of comes into the point we were making earlier on the show on 68. If you haven't heard it, 68 Lizard Lounge, about the reptilian brain. And he brings this up.
I'm sure you're old enough to remember this movie, but in 1967, guess who's coming to dinner?
I was only 6.
I figured.
Really? But
the rest of us remember it very well.
I do remember the movie.
Now, do you remember this?
Sidney Poitier he's smooth.
Please, he's the greatest ever. Yeah. But he says to his father, "You think of yourself as a Negro man, and I think of myself as a man, and that's the difference." Is that still relevant today?
Let's stop right there. So you see the progression. You think of yourself as a Negro man. I think of myself as a man. And now in 2021, we're trying to get the children to think of yourself as Negro men and women, or boys and girls again. You see how things have gone backwards. You see that? But let's continue on. Listen to Obama's answer.
I ask you, what are we? Who are we?
Well, we are Americans. We share common hopes. We share common dreams. We share common aspirations. We're going. And
I'm going to say this, right? The Factz family's so smart. Taylor Stagg, you saw that too, the touching of the leg. That would not stand now. According to Tawana Burke, that would be called unwelcome touching, and that could even fall under sexual violence. touching a woman's leg without permission? Yeah. So let's go ahead and finish and let him answer.
Going through common struggles. I mean, the fact of the matter is that everybody here, and I look at this audience and it's representative of the country, everybody here is connected in some fashion. And our success and our children's success is tied up together. And so I think most Americans...
That's another way of saying your children belong to us. He couched it in a very, I got to give him credit. He has a way with words, but you see how he couched the same thought process or as Melissa Harris Perry or even Terry McAuliffe, but he was very, very, very smooth with it. He slid it right on past you. Now, let's listen to it one more time.
Our success and our children's success is tied up together. And so I think most Americans feel that way. But what is still true is that there's still kind of a reptilian side of our brain, right? That part of our brain that if somebody looks different or sounds different, that there's a part of us that is cautious. And what we have to do is fight against that, and that's part of what Shirley Sherrod was trying to say in the speech. If you actually read the whole speech, she was acknowledging, I have my own biases based on my experiences, but if I am able to look inward and reflect, then I can get beyond my biases. And that's an exercise that all of us have to undergo day in, day out, and it's a constant struggle, and it's something that there's nobody in America who doesn't have to at some point think about their own racial attitudes.
Can I ask
but
you
if we
about
do,
that?
then I think...
See, he just did it again. He just touched her leg again.
There's no reason we can't overcome it. What is still true is that there's still kind of a reptilian side of our brain, right? That part of our brain that if somebody looks different or sounds different, that there's a part of us that is cautious. There's still kind of a reptilian side of our brain.
Yeah, it is a side of our reptilian brain. And what we're going to do is we're going to get into that actual reptilian brain. Just to cover it one more time. And this is Robert Sapolsky. And this is from Big Think. Let's get into that clip. Right, quick.
Best way to think about the brain. It's insanely complicated. Everything connects to everything. Amid all that complexity, functionally, it's very easy to think of the brain as coming in 3 functional layers. This is a broadly simplifying way to think about aspects of brain function when it comes to behavior. This is highly schematic. The brain really doesn't come in 3 layers, but one can think of the firstmost, the bottommost, the most ancient as being what's often termed the reptilian brain. We've got the same wiring as in a lizard, as in any ancient creature.
Lizard brain.
Ancient wiring at the base of the brain. And what does that region do? All the regulatory stuff. Your body temperature changes, it senses it and causes you to sweat or shiver. It's monitoring your blood glucose levels. It's releasing hormones that are essential to sort of everyday shopkeeping. It's just, keeping regulatory stuff in balance. Sitting on top of that is the limbic system, the emotional part of the brain.
And that's the point. They want to make us like them. They want us with the reptilian brain where we just react. It's either run or kill, fight or flight. They don't have these next 2 parts of the brain, the emotional brain and the third part where compassion lies, I believe. So let's just let him break down the other 2 parts of the brain, which I think they lack.
This is very much a mammalian specialty. You're off there in the grasslands, butting heads with somebody else with antlers, and it's your limbic system that's heavily involved in having to do with fear, arousal, anxiety, sexual longings, all those sorts of things. Then sitting on the top is the layer 3, the cortex. most recently evolved part of the brain. It's the part of the brain that does impulse control, long-term planning, emotional regulation. It's the frontal cortex that...
Oh, your boy got that rapping forte too. Well, he wavy. He got that rapping forte. Homeboy ain't got the Rick Ross beard.
Whispers in your ear saying, do you really, really want to do that right now? Functionally, it's very easy to think of this simplistic flow of commands. Layer 2, the limbic system, could make layer 1, the reptilian brain, activate. When is that? Your heart speeds faster, not because of a regulatory reptilian thing, ooh, you've been cut, something painful, but oh, an emotional state. You're a wildebeest and there's some scary, menacing wildebeest threatening you, and that emotional state causes your limbic system to activate the reptilian brain and your heart beats faster. You have a stress response, not because a regulatory change happened in your body, but for an emotional reason. Then it's very easy to think of layered on top, this cortical area commanding your second layer, your limbic system, to have an emotional response. Rather than something emotional, here's a threatening beast right in front of you, you see a movie that's emotionally upsetting.
That's how the news work right there. And I want to stop it right here to say this. The two things, Obama just laid out that race, naturally, the differences of people makes us nervous, and it kind of can trigger the reptilian brain. So they're using critical race theory to engage that way of thinking. But then you follow it up with the hammer of fear of life and death with the coof. See how these things are stacked one on top of the other, and they're done in a certain order. Naturally, people are just, for good or bad, we're apprehensive of people different from us. So they're playing on that, so then they can really bring in the fear of the coof. And this person is going to kill me if they don't take the Vaseline. And then it becomes fight or flight. We need to do something. Give everybody the Vaseline. It has to be done. It just has to be done. When you start thinking like them with that reptilian brain. But let's let him continue.
These are not real characters, they're pixels, and it's your cortex that's turning that abstract cognitive state into an emotional response. Likewise, your cortex layer 3 could influence events down in layer 1, a purely cognitive state. Ooh, on the other side of the planet, there are people undergoing some traumatic event, and I feel upset about it, and your reptilian brain response.
Reptiles. All right, so I know I've danced around this, and I know a lot of people are like, well, Mo, you dancing around the fact that reptilians are not. And the reason why I'm doing that, let's go this route. Where we at on time? I don't want to hold y'all too long, but it's important we get to all of this. Because before I get into this last section of clips, I want to cover this once. Share screen, window. Okay. This is why, close that. Right here, conspiracy theories. And that's what they wanted to use the term conspiracy theorists as classify them as terrorists. And this is from Time Magazine. This is the top 10 conspiracy theories. And the 10 of 10 is being the reptilian elite. Okay? So with that said, Jeff Bezos, false claim, and this is from USA Today, fact check. They actually had to fact check this. False claim that Jeff Bezos is an alien reptile drawn on conspiracy theories. And if you notice here, is this the one where they bring up the, what is it? The Defamation League. I think they mentioned the Defamation League in here. But yeah, so this is how they do this. So next is the Queen Elizabeth an extraterrestrial reptile? Some of the most bizarre royal conspiracy theories, and this is Channel 24. So you see they're starting to engage in this because they see it as a weapon. Okay, so now this is back in, I think this was the bomber. It says, like the QAnon Capitol rioters, the Nashville bomber, I think this is the dude that hit the AT&T building, had the RV outside there. Nashville bombers, lizard people theory is deadly serious. Okay, let's watch this video. Oh, no audio? Hold on. Let me see. Wait. Let me close this out. Remove. Okay. Oh, it's no audio. Let me reshare that. 1 second. Entire screen. Share. Oh, I did it again. Stop sharing. Come on, Streamlab. Y'all gotta StreamYard. Y'all gotta work on this. Let's see. Entire screen. That little box always gets me. All right, let's see. Share. Let's back up the clip.
Welcome back, everybody. A bizarre new twist in the Nashville Christmas Day explosion. Investigators are now exploring several conspiracy theories as potential motives, including evidence the bomber believed in lizard people.
Sound good now? Y'all let me know.
And a so-called reptilian conspiracy. Want to go to Morgan Chesky, who is in Nashville for us. Morgan, good morning. Good to see you on this. This new reporting is really bizarre, just to be honest, considering these conspiracy theories now involved in this whole thing. So talk us through what you know so far on this.
Yeah, Yasmin, good morning. Federal officials looking into several unfounded conspiracy theories as potential motives for Anthony Quinn Warner. One of those, as you mentioned, includes this reptilian theory, which basically says that there are individuals on planet Earth that are lizards sent here to do harm. That is just one of the theories they're looking into, though. Others include the 5G internet theory and also issues regarding AT&T. And that's an important note to remember here because the AT&T data facility was one of the closest buildings in proximity to this RV when it exploded and suffered extensive damage in this blast that right now authorities are saying Warner was the sole perpetrator of. We're just a few blocks from that scene right now.
And there was some funky stuff going on with that AT&T building. I'm just going to say, yeah, it was some funky stuff going on. But my point is, you see how they were back then they were tying the belief of lizard people with conspiracy theories with actual terrorists. Once again, let's go to the second one. This is man charged with murdering kids may have believed in lizard people.
The Santa Barbara father accused of killing his 2 young children in Rosarito will now be transferred back here to San Diego. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
And I'm Jesse Pagan. Carlo has the night off. Matthew Taylor Coleman appeared in front of a judge in L.A. today. A federal grand jury indicted him yesterday. As News 8's David Gofferton reports, FBI agents say Coleman confessed to stabbing his kids because he thought they had what he calls serpent DNA.
Under the right circumstances, these conspiracy theories can motivate people to violence.
The motive Santa Barbara surf instructor Matthew Coleman gave for stabbing his 2 young children to death with a spearfishing gun is spelled out in this FBI affidavit. Quote, he was enlightened by QAnon and Illuminati conspiracy theories. He believed his wife possessed serpent DNA and had passed it on to his children, and he was saving the world from monsters.
All right, we're going to stop right there. Yeah. Yes. This is what we're talking about, folks. And I'm going to say this, don't go down the rabbit hole too far. Don't go down, because a lot of people, they don't come back. I've seen this before. People get too woke, too informed, and they lose grip on reality. And this is just another weapon against our psyche. But with that said, let's stop sharing there. Okay, we're gonna close those out. Close those out. I think we're done here. One more clip over there. Okay, here we go. Alrighty, so where are we at? I got a lot going on over here. We did the reptilian brain. Oh, so as a little Moe, as a little Moe, I remember this movie. Y'all might remember it too. It had Charlie Sheen in it, and it was called The Arrival. It came out in 1996. Well, I wasn't that little. Maybe 15, 16 years old at the time. But this is the one made me start to think. And this is the trailer for The Arrival. One second. That's the Boulay phone.
Is my voice even vaguely familiar to you, Zane? I really don't want a repeat of last week.
Look, if I say I'm gonna be there, I will be there. End of story. There is nothing more important to me right now than
Searching for ETs in this political environment is a tough sell.
I come to you with the possibility of extrasolar life. I can't for it. They're acting like it never happened. It's like we never gave him any tape. The first signal's definitely sky-based, but this one is Earth-based. Something's going on here, Shar. What is it that they're trying to hide?
It's a troubled young man.
Why are you telling them lies about me? I want my tape back. I want it back.
They've branded his theory paranoid.
There are some DOD guys here going through our stuff.
I don't know who these guys are, but I do know that they're lying to you.
And the only ones who believe what's coming.
If they're not here now, they will be soon.
Who, Zane?
Are the ones who've already arrived.
Right now, as much as you think you don't know the half of it.
Why did they leave?
They didn't.
How do you know?
Because we aren't dead yet. Move!
Stop watching the skies.
I know why they're here.
Start watching and look back. Charlie Sheen, Ron Silver, The Arrival.
So this movie is, when you watch this movie in hindsight, talking about global warming, extraterrestrial / reptilian or alien people, illegal immigration. It, like I said, it was just a smorgasbord. When you go back and look, like, wow, like they were really, if you want to think that way, they were really just showing us what time it was. It's crazy. And here is one of the most telling scenes from that movie. Let's see here. This is the one that stuck with me, like as a young, 15-year-old. This is the one that had the most impression on me, and this is the final scene of that movie. And I think this movie is for free on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, if y'all want to check it out.
Why couldn't you just come and ask for our help? Then you tell them. You go back and tell them that I know, that she knows, that others will know. It's not gonna be easy. Not anymore.
It ain't gonna be easy, folks. Boy, when that scene happened, I'm trying to tell you, when that scene happened right there, boy, I'm trying to tell you, that blew me right there. I was like, whoa, buddy. We ain't in Kansas anymore. When that little boy I was like, not the black kid. No. No, he ain't in on it. No. But that's even more profound. It's like, bro, you think you know who these people are? Nah, this group of alien people ain't one group of people. It's deeper than rap. It's deeper than rap. Let's look at that one more time. When that little boy I know for some of y'all that first saw this for the first time, it blew me away. I was like, what in the world? One more time. Tyler, the Creator, out this mug. I wasn't ready for that one. I was not ready for that one. I was not. So with that said, let's go over to Vlad and let's watch this is John Sally. And John Sally has a strange way of always smoothly, carefully letting the truth come out in a certain way. I appreciate the way he moves. Very, he just very soft-handed without being compromised. And he talks about the reptilian race. Are we down again? I look. Y'all let me know if I'm back. I'm gonna be here. I am gonna be here but I'll push past this clip. Obviously. Okay, it's unavailable. All right, that's fine. It's definitely the clip. So I'm gonna relinquish this clip. Let me know if I'm back. That's where the Power Father come in at. He working on the podcasting 2.0. And like I said, if y'all notice, I put the fair use up front before I started the video because I knew it was going to be some stuff like this. Right. So we back? Are we back? Let me know. Let me know if we back. Okay, we're gonna move away from Vlad. But the point okay. Let me see if we back. Let me see. Are we back? Are we back? Press 1. Okay, we back. Okay. Basically, what John Sally goes on to lay out the story in the Bible with the fallen angels, and Vlad tries to play ignorant about what's going on, but from what I understand, Vlad comes from a Jewish background, which in the Torah, these stories are clearly laid out. But then he tries to play like he doesn't know what's going on. So I just want to give you where a lot of people think the reptilian stories come from. So with that said, I'm going to, we almost done. We're almost out of here. One more time, I got to share the screen. And reality is stranger than fiction. This story, people still talking about South Carolina's weirdest legend. Festival held 3 decades later, excuse me. This is the man that witnessed the lizard person down in South Carolina. And it just so happens to be a so-called black man, or allegedly. Let's get into the clip about this story.
I was sheriff during the time this lizard man made his appearance in Lee County, and it was during the year of 1988. I took this thing very serious because we turned our backs on it. Oh, it wasn't nothing to it. Say it attacked somebody's children, even the adults. Not only would I have to leave the county, I would have had to leave the state.
His description said it was about 7 foot tall with red glowing eyes and very fast, and it appeared to have 3 long fingers on each hand. I thought it could have been a bear or something that he saw. We don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. But he saw something because nobody could have been frightened like he was.
My titles boss and it fled.
This is Christopher Davis. He was the witness of the lizard man but not the only witness, as we're going to hear.
So I got out and changed about 2 a.m. that night. After I was finished changing, I was putting fled in the jack in the trunk.
Yeah, 3-finger bear.
And I looked back. I saw red eyes, big red eyes thing running toward me. So I jumped in the driver's side, and when I was shutting the door, he grabbed the door. So I jerked the door and shut it and pulled off. And I looked in the mirror, I saw a big image and a loud crash on top of the car.
That lizard wanted to hear some dark meat.
I scratched my head. I said, I can't believe this, what I'm hearing. I said, okay, draw it. He drew it. Immediately he drew it. At that time, when this first broke, it went all over the world in 3 days' time. And I got calls from all over the world. One of the things that the media has done, they would take it from Chris Davis, and that was all. But this thing, at least 12 people saw it.
The morning that I saw what I saw, I was loading the plane right over here, like I always do, and taxied out on the runway here. Started my takeoff roll. And there's a point down here that if you're not off the ground, you better throttle back and stop. After that point, you better hope you fly. That's about where I was at the day that this, whatever it was, crossed the runway in front of me. He turned his head and looked at the plane. He looked at it and turned right back, and the thing had a kind of a lope in its walk. And like I said, much taller than you. I would guess 8.5, 9 feet tall.
Well, I had...
So we got multiple accounts of eyewitnesses witnessing the same thing. Yeah, that music is creepy. Let's continue on. Now, these are all different eyewitness accounts.
I was going to fence up this part of the swamp to put goats and hogs in. The men, we had quit at lunchtime down by myself. I looked around the swamp. Something was peeping out behind about a 30 to 36-inch tree. Just a head part was sticking out. I looked at it and it looked at me. I never saw anything like that before in my life. His eyes was red. He had a head shaped almost like a human head.
But I get up every morning, I open the door and I look out, see where all my kitties are. Open the door and I went, what? All their blankets and all their towels were all up and down the driveway. 10 minutes later, Bob was gonna go to the hardware store for me. He comes back in, he says, honey, put on your coat and shoes. I wanna show you something. So he comes out in the car. And I mean, we're just like, oh my God, what could have done this?
Green skin, red eyes, AG. Green skin and red eyes.
There were pieces, they're sitting over there, some of them that were just like ripped off the car and bent and thrown on the ground. Something definitely big and bad did that to our car, to bend that metal. I can't see a coyote or a dog doing anything like that. I think if it was a bear, there would have been more damage to the front of the hood. So the sheriff come out and he looked at the car and everything, and then later on.
Look at this, look at the tag. Lizard man's car.
And Bob took the car up there and they took blood samples from the car. But to this day, you don't see any cats over on that patio. There's about 7 missing, 6 or 7 missing since that night.
Them cats said, I am up out of here. You got to be playing with me. The cats ran away. If cats run away, you know it's serious. Cats ain't scared of nothing.
The legend of the lizard man is Lee County. We just need to embrace it. Every town should have an icon, and we just happen to be fortunate enough that it happens to be a lizard man, that he chose us as opposed to us having to go out and find an icon for Lee County. I think he likes us. Maybe he doesn't. He doesn't like cars, obviously, but we'll take him for what he's worth. The economic impact so far has been, in the last 20 years, it's been a positive thing for us here in Bishopville and in Lee County.
A lot of people think this is a Bigfoot, and it has all appearances to be a Bigfoot if you want to believe in that. And anything that we had reports of it run inside of a car doing 40 miles an hour.
That's a good point right there. Hold on, let me run that back a little bit because I want to hear what he said. But yeah, the cats all saw Alf in the 80s. Alf was an alien. Alien life form. They try to let you know. Is cats lizard snacks? Who knows? But let's continue on.
Bishopville and in Lee County.
A lot of people think this is a Bigfoot, and it has all appearances to be a Bigfoot if you want to believe in that. And anything that we had reports of it run inside of a car doing 40 miles an hour, we could find him. Carolina Clemson could certainly use him.
He trying to give him a scholarship. He said if he can run down the road 40 miles an hour, Carolina or Clemson can use him. Boy, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. But yeah, we'll take that with a grain of salt. But I just found that interesting. That, you know what I'm saying, the young man Christopher Davis at the time was at the center of this. Tragically, he was killed in a drug altercation. As the story goes, we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole too deep. But yeah, I mean, like I said, these are accounts of people. And I apologize for all the technical difficulties we encountered tonight. I'll go back and I'll make adjustments accordingly so we can have a smoother production. But you know what it is. You know what? Y'all know what time it is. Certain topics that we cover is gonna. You're saying we're gonna have problems with it until we have a better situation. Now we get to the last clip, and this is why, like I said, we've talked about lizard people. Talked about the lizard brain. But this is where the rubber meets the road at when we talk about the lizard brain. And this is why I ate man's leg. And this is from the BBC News.
The following report contains some disturbing images.
The winners in this conflict, delirious with victory. The Christians were victims, now they're on top.
And now I want y'all to be mindful, this is Christian versus Muslims. This is how far the binary or the lizard mind can get when you just get into fight or flight. And these are of two believing groups. This is how far it went.
The following report contains some disturbing images.
The winners in this conflict, delirious with victory. The Christians were victims, now they're on top. It's a dangerous time to be Muslim. A charred and dismembered body is dragged through the streets. Christians have just killed a Muslim passerby. Wanja, Mad Dog Magloire, was at the head of the mob. He was in a blind fury that day. Muslims killed his pregnant wife, his sister-in-law, her baby, he tells me. They broke down the door and cut the baby in half. I promised I'd get my revenge.
This is how far humans can go. And right. And these are so-called, quote-unquote, believers. This is how far we can go. Cutting babies out of wombs, dragging people through the streets, This is where the reptilian mind takes you to. Fight or flight.
Revenge was an act of cannibalism. First, he stabbed his victim. "You are Muslim, Muslim, Muslim," he said. I poured petrol over him. I burned him. I ate his leg, right down to the white bone.
He ate his leg right down to the white bone. I'm going to say that one more time. He ate a human being, was so enraged, and maybe, I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not justified, but if you done lost your sister-in-law, they done cut the baby, you know what I'm saying? This is what blind rage can do to people, and this is why I do this. We saw this with Mao's China. Human sacrifice and ritualistic cannibalism. When you get into a blind rage, this is why we got to put the brakes on, folks. Civility, like me and Adam talk about, that glass, that very thin glass of civility, once it's broke, humans go straight back to that reptilian animalistic brain, and this is what you get. I want y'all to hear that one time, not for shock and awe, but just to let you see how far it can get with humans. We're talking about human beings.
Revenge was an act of cannibalism. First, he stabbed his victim. "You are Muslim, Muslim, Muslim," he said. I poured petrol over him. I burned him. I ate his leg, right down to the white bone. The victim was just passing through on a bus. Most Christians are horrified, but resigned. No one tried to help him, say these eyewitnesses. Everyone's so angry with the Muslims. No way anyone is going to intervene.
And then nobody stopped him. That's the other crazy part. Nobody stopped him. You cook a man's leg and just eat it down to the white bone, and everybody just sitting around like, oh, that's normal. Or maybe out of fear, or who knows. But I'm just saying, this is how fast things can devolve. We take this for granted because we've lived, especially me, I've lived in mostly peaceful times. I mean, even on the global scene, when we had the Middle East wars and those kind of things. But for the most part, we haven't experienced what our great-grandparents and what our grandparents and definitely our great-grandparents have experienced. As far as, I mean, that's why they don't even talk about World War I. World War I was a beast. That trench war, I mean, it got ugly down there. So we got to be careful about binary thinking, going to one side or the other, because this could be a reality.
This happened at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when the streets were crowded with people, just like you see today. Everyone we've spoken to is still at a loss to know what to make of it. Was it the act of a madman? Was it somebody who'd been pushed by sectarian hatreds? Was this explained perhaps by traditional beliefs in magic and sorcery?
Magic and sorcery, there it is. Shouts out to AO.
These fighters are Christians, but they also believe in magic. Their amulets contain soil from their ancestors' graves. Some carry the flesh of enemies they've killed.
They walking around with flesh of their enemies. Just let that soak in for a minute. I mean, really. And now you see why I'm pushing for everybody just to cool it. Just to chill. No bath salts either. This ain't bath salts. This ain't no chemical. This is pure blind rage, as they said.
These charms are a delicate subject, not often discussed with outsiders. We are bulletproof, says the commander. Mad Dog Magloire went further. Perhaps his crime resulted from his own demons, but to some Christians, he's a hero. That doesn't bode well for this country's future. Paul Wood, BBC News, Bongi.
And that was the last clip. Right. The Bible says no blood. You're right. Right. We society says no eating of human flesh. Bro, you shouldn't be putting mambo sauce on humans and just cooking them and eating them. But I would say this: when violence begets violence, and one act it just be ramped up to another act, and you saw he's a hero. We can't rationalize that because we live in a civil world. We live, and not saying they're uncivilized, but when you just consume so much violence, no pun intended, you know what I'm saying, just taking in violent act after violent act, you become desensitized. And now, what do you think the Muslims get back is going to be? What do you think they get back is going to be? It's going to be, they ate our leg? We coming for an arm. Oh, they ate our arm? Or we coming for a heart? And it just goes back and forth and back and forth. And like I said, we've seen stuff. But this is crazy. And we saw the same thing in Mao's China. That's why it comes full circle 360 degrees from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. I think they said like 20 million dead during Mao's, that reign of Mao's. And now look at the world we're in where you're faced with the koof. When somebody looks at you like you're a walking bioweapon. You think that can engage your flight or fight to the point it could get to this? I mean, these people are just fighting over books that they believe in. Imagine when you look at something like, hey, this guy is carrying something that could kill me and my family and we got to neutralize him. And you could quickly get to the justification of acts that, you know what I'm saying, far exceed what we've seen here. Well, like I said, I wish I had a better note to leave us on, but I would say this: the power's in our hands to not engage in the binary thinking, to have nuance and compassion and use all three parts of our brain. We have that power. We really have that power. So don't feel powerless, because I mean, that's just not how we are. We can be proactive. We can, you know what I'm saying, put first things first and we can seek first to understand, then to be understood. And of course, the Vaseline for this is empathetic listening. Understanding people, where people come from. And with that said, as I always say, pay attention to everything and the truth will reveal itself. Good night.